live? Nice. Alex, think we're live?
O- Okay, yeah.
Let's
I
see.
opened the stream as
Open
well.
the stream.
Yeah.
How's the. Well, I'll ask the chat when they get in. But what's up, everyone? We're going to work through. We're going to do our. In this stream, probably going to do the Big Tech Interview Challenge, a couple of these. But also have a special guest, which is Alex, who's interviewing for a senior role at Meta. So we're going to talk about like some strategies for ramping up for that. He cleared the phone screen. He's about to start studying for the onsite. So we just been talking and trying to figure out a good study plan for him. So I was like, might as well like do this on stream. Alex, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Like James said, I'm a senior software developer. I worked in a bunch of startups in San Francisco. I graduated from San Francisco State, originally from Siberia, but lived most of my life in San Francisco. I worked in some corporate companies as well, like Visa, Apple. I worked at Apple over 2 years as a senior full stack, bunch of startups. So yeah, I've been mostly working in remote positions for the past 7 years,
Yeah.
and that allows me to stay and live where I want, not just in San Francisco. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah. So what what was your interview process so far? And like how have you prepared? How did you clear the onsite or the phone screen?
The phone screen, I mean, I've been lead coding for the past few years on and off, to be honest. Like everything from I was at first doing interviews in JavaScript, then in C++, and this year I kind of start doing it in Python because obviously it's a better choice for quick interviews.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did kind of just going through as many problems as I could from the Facebook, I mean Meta top 150 list,
Yeah.
sorted by 6 months, or it was 3 months. I don't remember. It changes every day anyway. But like you see a question just pop up at the top.
Hmm.
So I mean, I didn't get through all of it because I was a little bit rusty. Some questions I solved like 4 years ago, but I just if you haven't solved it in 4 years, you just it's not that hard to. It's hard to solve some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them have tricks, like even the maximum swap questions, like little medium, but unless you've seen it before, I feel like.
You just ran into that yesterday, huh?
No, a week ago, I
Was
just
it
was like
annoying?
reviewing my notes. I
Yeah.
mean, once I saw the solution, I solved it a week later, like in 5 minutes. But yeah, some questions are just like, yeah, you can know all the patterns you want, but you get some question that you never seen before, and it's like you either seen it or not. But that's just how the game goes.
Yeah. I see. Wait, let me quickly adjust this.
I did another technical interview yesterday. Don't want to mention which company, but I think I passed it because my code ran from the first run.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh yeah, it's not gonna be like lead code DP or anything like that." But still, like you would think for startups the question would be easier, but I feel like it's almost the same type of effort anyway. And then like the question you were solving yesterday about the dates, right?
Yeah.
One company was like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna ask you lead code questions," and that's the first question I got.
That's
Uh,
crazy. Yeah. Every company's asking leak code these days.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna do a quick like introduction because I'm gonna spin this off as an actual video.
Okay.
That's a bit annoying because I already did the intro. But well, okay. What we're gonna quickly do is like talk about like just a quick intro of like how you've been studying, and then we're gonna talk about your study. Pretty much, we'll figure out the study plan that we were talking about before you hopped on the stream.
Okay.
Cool, cool. Let me set this up. Put this. Put this. Anybody in the chat got any questions for Alex, real quick, before we get into it? just start off with some Q&As real quick.
Yeah, you guys can ask me
Yeah,
questions.
ask
I
them.
lived in Bay Area for a while, and so
Fate, he has an interview as a senior software engineer at Meta. He's worked at companies like Apple, Toyota. He's worked in like Silicon Valley for a while. How long have you been coding for?
professionally since like 2008.
Yeah, like he's been around for a while. So just feel free to ask him some questions real quick, and then we're gonna get into some Meta interview prep. I think Faint's like a high school student.
Yeah, the way I got into coding was actually I used to like playing computer games, and then in high school I took like HTML
Wow.
class, and I was like, oh, I gotta be a computer science major. So
In
that's
high
what I
school,
went.
that's crazy.
Yeah, in high school, HTML class. But
Have
you
you
know,
read Notes from a Dead House by I can't pronounce that. Are you reading the chat?
let me see. I just saw. Oh wow. Oh, have you read Notes from Dead House? Dostoevsky? No, I have not read that.
What's the
You
CPU
know,
reading? I don't know what you mean by CPU reading. Do you speak Russian?
да, я говорю по-русски. That means yes, I do speak Russian. I can read and write in Russian. But most of my life, I lived in San Francisco.
Nice. When did you move to SF?
When I was 11 years old.
Nice, nice, nice. Cool. All right. Looks like no questions. So I'm gonna start up. I'm gonna restart it, the intro part, so we can we'll shoot it like it's a video because I want this to go. He recognized you. The way up. Do you speak Russian too? Or you seen his channel before? Alex's. Let me give a shout out to Alex's channel. Everyone go follow Alex's channel. He drops leak code content as well.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm gonna
What, what
start dropping it more often.
what's your? It's like
And
Dev Delight, right?
yeah, I send you the links in Discord. I think it's all
Delight.
together. Yeah, 1 second. No. Let's see. I'll just drop the links in the chat. 1 second.
I don't know if it lets you do it in the.
Right there
Where is it?
in the chat. You see it?
One sec. This chat?
Yeah.
Just drop in the Google chat, yeah.
Oh, okay, 1 second.
Yeah, we're gonna do. Nice. Yeah, everyone go follow him up. SB, what's up? Nice. This is sick. Cool. Let's see. Okay, let's just start this up. I'm gonna spin this up on a. Oh shoot, 1 sec.
I think my autofocus is a little bit messed up on the camera, huh?
Yeah, maybe try to center yourself a little bit, maybe. Center.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah.
I think I gotta just turn on the light more. 1 second.
SB, thank you, appreciate it. Yo, I hope to get 100K subs at some point. Hopefully by the end of the year. But Alex, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna
What's
start
up?
this.
Is that better?
Way better, I think.
Yeah. There we go. I think it's the light. Just needed more for focus. Oh,
Yeah, people are really liking the leak code content and system design interviews. I didn't think my channel would actually grow this fast. I was aiming to get like 10K subs by the end of the year, but it's been going like solid growth.
yeah, faint. I was a senior full stack engineer, but it was a contract job. It was not a full-time employee job. I was there for over 2 years, and they just kept extending my contract. So it was not like I didn't have all the full-time employee benefits. That's why one of the reasons I left.
Are people studying leak code over the summer? No way. I'd be enjoying my summer as a student. As a grinding leak code in the summer. That's crazy. Okay, let's start this up. Hey everyone. Today I have my friend Alex, who's interviewing for a senior software engineer role at Meta. He's worked at companies like Apple and Toyota and other big companies and spent a lot of time in San Francisco working and living out of San Francisco. I mean, actually, I'll just let him introduce himself. But today in this video, we're pretty much going to talk about how he should prepare for his Meta on-site interview, which is coming up in about a month. And we're going to like craft out a study plan for both not just coding interview, but a system design interview. And yeah, even we can talk about behavioral as well. But yeah, Alex, you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, like James mentioned, I'm a software developer. I grew up mostly in San Francisco, originally from Siberia. At first, I was working in a lot of different startups in San Francisco downtown, but I also experienced companies like Visa, Apple, Toyota. And like he mentioned, I'm just going through the interview process, certain companies like Meta and some other ones, some startups I'm interviewing with because they're fully remote. I usually prefer the fully remote options, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's where we at. I used to do lead code in JavaScript, then C++, and now doing it in Python.
Yeah. And like how many leak code questions have you done? And what's your advice to maybe people who are just starting leak code? Because you've been doing leak code for a while and you have videos doing leak code.
Yeah, I mean, in total, I probably on and off, I probably done more than 500.
Mm-hmm.
On and off, like since 2019 or something. But like when I start, like a lot of people start doing random problems. That's how I kind of started. And then a month later, you come back, you cannot solve it, right? So I don't really count that prep. Where I was once I was working at a startup remotely for 3 years. I was trying to do like one lead code problem a day at least for like a year. But it's very different when you also just repeating same problems over and over again, such as like I went through blind 75 twice, for example.
Yeah.
Uh, First time in C++ and in Python. But then when you start doing other problems, such as like let's say Metalist 150, but you just been doing for a year blind 75 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
you start to realize, oh man, like I understand the patterns really well, but you need to do also other problems because there's like other tricks if you haven't seen before. You start getting, because I see a lot of people say, oh, just do blind 75 and you'll pass all the interviews, or
Yeah.
90% of interviews. I don't think that's the case
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't think that's the case either. Um, what's your advice to anyone interviewing for Meta phone screen? Like you cleared it pretty well. How did you study for that and clear it? And advice for anyone who's also going through Meta interview process.
Yeah, one thing is, well, if you have engineering friends that interviewed at Meta or working there, maybe
Mm-hmm.
ask for their advice. But then, if the second thing is the best thing is do have Lead Code Premium and basically sort all the meta questions by frequency of like 3 to 6 months and try to go through as many of them as you want, as you can, because meta, it seems like they do ask a lot of questions from that list. At least with all my friends that interviewed, they got, questions from that list. Unluckily for me, I did not get
Yeah.
one of the questions from the list, but that's how the game goes.
Yeah. Still, you're still able to solve it. Any
Yeah.
advice for people still in school, like students, for starting their career?
Yeah. So the thing is, unfortunately, when I was a computer science major, I didn't realize how important algorithms are going to be for the interview prep. Like, that's why I didn't really do it in college, right? I had like, I think there's like a few classes on data structure, but most of it was like, building a compiler, in Java or something like that. So I would say, yeah, you can have a big advantage by the time you graduate if you start lead coding now. That's I mean, I think when I graduated, lead code did not exist yet, to be honest. But there was like cracking the code interview, and there's way more resources now for preparation. Where when I was going to college, it was very like abstract, right? Like no one really knew how to prepare. The book Cracking the Code came out, I think, but that's it. There's no like platforms online such as LeetCode where now it's like you know exactly what to do to
Yeah,
prepare.
you know exactly what they're gonna ask too. And
Yeah.
somebody in the chat asked any advice for Amazon Loop. I think when it comes to any fan company, so much people are doing the interviews that everyone's posting online what is being asked at these interviews. So just go online and figure out what people are asking.
Yeah. I mean, I knew someone that worked at Amazon for a while, so the leadership principles are going to be very important.
Yeah,
You need to master the Amazon leadership principles because I think the way the interviews work from what I recall that this person was telling me is that you'll have like the technical interview, for example, you code a problem, but then the last follow up, they're going to be asking you like leadership principles even during the coding round.
yeah,
So I think that's the difference. So, and from what I understand, if you prepare really good for Amazon leadership principles, you'll do really good in other behavioral interviews for other companies because the Amazon one, I think, is the hardest one for leadership principles in terms of drilling you.
yeah. When I was graduating, I did Amazon as well, and I prepared for the behavioral. And studying for the behavioral for Amazon really helped me just do behaviorals at any other company because their behaviorals are very rigid and extreme compared
Yeah.
to other companies as well. And you could actually fail Amazon behaviorals. That's not the case with a lot of different companies. So yeah, prepare for Amazon behaviorals. What do star format, and then actually align all of your responses with the leadership principles. But Shabaj in the chat works at Amazon, so go ask him away. We're gonna get into the preparation. So, Alex, when is your interview? And let's quickly just start figuring out a strategy here.
Yeah, it's going to be in a month from now.
Okay. Yeah, let me get the dates here.
Yeah, I can still, like, I guess, reschedule it or whatever, but.
Let's see.
And I have also a bunch of other technical interviews besides
Yeah.
this one, but it's all kind of related, right? So
Yeah. So you have till April 23, and how do you feel you are with lead code? What's kind of your level? You think you're pretty good, or some questions still get you?
yeah, I mean, I definitely need to finish the meta, all the 150 questions or whatever. I think I did only like 80 of them or something,
I
but
see.
yeah, I can. I know I have some weaknesses I need to work on for sure. Like, yeah, if I get any question from like blind 75 or like similar type of pattern, pretty sure I can solve like 90% of it. But based on what I've been getting in other interviews so far, it's like I think I need to do way more problems. Like you guys are like
Yeah.
solving so
Yeah.
many.
Shabaj, he's interviewing for senior role, so he's has a lot of experience. So yeah, he's doing
Yeah,
more
one of
senior.
my friends at Facebook said I should do E6, but that's that's crazy. But yeah,
What's
senior
the
role.
interview process again for the on-site
Um,
coding?
so it's similar to E4, except you have extra system design. So yeah, two
Are you
coding
allowed to
rounds.
talk about that part in that, or you can't talk about the process?
Yeah, let's not talk about the process because I'm not sure I signed some NDA. Gotta make sure that yeah,
Okay.
I don't get in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Let's just talk about yeah, like what I know from online though. Let's just say that there's probably gonna be like two coding, two behavioral, or no, one behavioral. This is just stuff that is online, pretty much. 1 to 2 system design for senior role. Each interview is probably like 45 minutes, right? Okay. I think how are you? Let's talk about the coding portion. What I was telling him right before this is I think since his interview's so far out, he shouldn't just spam meta tag until he's a bit closer to the interview. So pretty much, let's see. Oh yeah, and then I was gonna show this quickly. Everyone go follow Alex. He has his own YouTube channel as well. Does leak code content and like other cool stuff.
Yeah, like self improvement,
Yeah,
different podcasts.
podcast stuff.
I
But
interviewed some bodybuilders as well. A lot of
nice.
engineers have
Yeah.
health issues because they don't work out or eat properly. So
Yeah. Raccoon, you don't apply when you go to Meta. You don't really apply for a team. You just apply for like product generalist, ML generalist, infrastructure generalist, and then after you get the offer, you get placed on the placed on a stream, or sorry, placed on a team. And Nora's asking, do you live stream as well?
Not yet, but I think I'm gonna eventually start live stream. I live streamed a few times on Twitch, but like I said, the interview prep, I just want to focus on that right now. And then I'll go back to, I posted content almost every day for a year on my Instagram as well. You can get that link from my YouTube channel. But yeah, just follow me and you'll get notifications once I start, live streaming and stuff like that. But right now I'm just focused on one
Yeah.
thing at a time
Yeah, I
because
mean lock in.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I was telling Alex before this is that since his interview so far, how much weekends? 1 weekend, 2 weekends, 3 weekends, 4, 5. You have 6 weekends. I would say the first 2 weekends, 2 weekends, just focus on actually just getting better at leak code. So I would say probably today, this weekend, and this weekend, and like half of this week, actually just get better at leak code. And then, or no, I was saying all the way up until April. I was saying for the rest of March, actually get better at leak code.
But tell them what it means better lead code, because for them you're
Yeah.
solving problems from meta list. It's better lead code as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because there's two strategies. Pretty much since he's interviewing at Meta, what he's been doing is just studying Meta specific questions, which is good. But since he has so much time, I was suggesting he should just spend April actually like focusing on meta tag questions right
Mhm.
here. So these are actually doing meta straight up meta interviews. Ones that people got looking up on like there's so many websites that kind of like give meta style questions. So figuring out what type of questions meta asks and then like solving those specific ones. Like if you have LeetCode Premium, you can look for meta questions, Google questions. It's usually not exactly the same as what they'll ask, but it's very very close, and the patterns are similar. So if you can solve those questions, if you get a variant in the interview, you'll be able to do it. But I was saying he should pretty much spend April actually studying meta specific questions, but then the rest of March, I was suggesting that he learns the underlying patterns that Meta likes to ask. So Meta really likes to ask things like two pointers, heaps, modified binary search, DFS, the different variations, BFS, stacks, prefix sums, intervals. I looked through the list of Meta's top asked questions, um, both 30 days, 3 months, and 6 months, and these are the most common patterns I saw. Alex, you got a picture of these?
Yeah. I think I mean, if anything, I'll just take a screenshot, or
Yeah,
like you'll send me this board link later, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would suggest like actually learning these patterns, but don't do these patterns or don't study these patterns specifically to meta. Just study these patterns specifically to learn these patterns so that when you go to study meta questions, you'll already have these patterns in your toolbox kind of thing. Like you're just trying to build the tools in your toolbox.
No, I like your bonus because I just solved it in one space, the best basic calculator too.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Respect.
yeah. My strategy usually when I solve the problems, I try to understand the most optimal solution, unless it's like super crazy, like some Morris algorithm or something. I don't know, but yeah, I noticed with the basic calculator, for example, there's a solution with the stack, right, which is ON space,
Yeah.
but I always try to solve the optimal because a lot of follow-up questions, especially more senior level, they're like, how would you optimize the space? And then if you don't know how to do it, you might fail.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Um, yeah, and then to study these patterns for the rest of March, I was suggesting go do grokking the coding interview on Design Gurus specifically. This was honestly my favorite website for actually getting good at leak code. I feel like when I did this after I went through this website, that's when I really got good at leak code because kind of when you do questions at random and you don't understand the underlying pattern, you it's really hard to get good. I feel because you're kind of like solving each question in different ways. You might be able to get it to work, but you need to find patterns in how things are done. It's like pretend you're doing math questions, you don't know derivatives, you don't know integrals. Like those are fundamental tools that you use to solve math problems, right? And these are the underlying tools that you use in order to solve algorithm problems. So I would say like the first 300 leak code questions I've ever done, I was kind of just doing them randomly and I was still able to solve them, but I wasn't able to solve them consistently. But then I ran into this course, Grokking the Coding Interview, which probably everyone in this chat already knows, but it teaches you the underlying patterns. These are the patterns that people use in order to solve complicated algorithms. Like mediums, usually you can solve mediums usually with one of these patterns, and you can solve hard maybe with a mix of like one or two of these patterns, and easy's probably like easier versions of this. But like these are the different patterns, like two pointers, fast and slow pointers, sliding window, merging intervals, cyclic sort. I've never seen this in an interview, but I thought this was a really cool like this was a really cool algorithm. You could solve
Yeah.
so many problems with it. Two heaps was really cool. There's so many different like patterns. I mean, like union find. So I mean, I wouldn't study all of them. I would just study the ones that Meta is gonna ask. So like, I would say spend a day on each one. Like spend a day and a bit working on two pointers. Spend a day and a bit working on sliding windows. Like just go from top to bottom on these lists. And it also goes from like easier to harder. So it's a good progression.
Yeah.
So
Funny enough, when I got my remote job in like 2020 during COVID, I think I went through like 60% of the racking, the interview
nice.
patterns.
It's
But
good,
of course,
right?
you forget, you need to review.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a good like way to learn, I think, because one issue is like a lot of people, like you said, solving random problems. But like, let's say you solve 2-pointer one, but now you only see the 2-pointer question that's a little bit harder, like in a month, you're not gonna get it. But if you solve, and I think also the grokking patterns in terms of level of problems, it increases, right? So it starts with easy,
Yeah.
then medium, and harder. So
Hmm.
it's a good strategy, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I think yeah. So what do you think about doing that for the first till April and then locking back in on top meta questions?
Yeah, so I think because I have a lot of time right now during the daytime, except like, all this interviews and recruit calls, plus I have to do system design, prep, behavioral, front end, all this
Yeah.
stuff. I think if I'm doing, let's say, 5 to 7 hours of lead code per day,
Well.
hypothetically speaking,
Yeah.
I that's not what I'm doing, but I'm saying if I was doing that, I
Yep.
could technically do, you know, part of the day grokking the patterns and then review some of the
Yeah.
lead code meta in the evening, for example, like, right?
Yeah.
So I think it is a yeah, it is a good way because like I said, even one of the questions I got asked was not from the list, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna start doing, just going through those patterns.
Yeah. Also, you can't spend all your day just grinding lead code. You might get burnt out. So that's why even actually when I was interviewing for new grad, I would study lead code until I kind of burnt out. Then I'll just read Grokking the coding interview, and it's way easier to do that than actually work through questions. And
Hmm.
if I'm really burnt out, just read system design blogs and stuff like that. You pretty much have to spend all your time trying to study for these interviews because these interviews are really hard these days. But
Yeah.
the amount of upside is a lot as well. So it is worth it if you're able to land the job.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that should get you ready for coding. What
So
about system
maybe
design? What?
so maybe like on the on this graph that on that you're drawing, maybe can you write down like in text, like tracking the patterns the first 2 weekends or weeks or whatever,
Okay.
just so we like there's a
Yeah.
reference points even for the people
Um.
that are watching.
Yeah. Spend 2 weeks doing general learning general patterns. This is basically getting back to the basics. Doing
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks. Spend 2 weeks getting back to the basics, which is learning common patterns through grokking the coding interview. Right?
For sure.
And then probably last 4 weeks, like lock into meta specific questions.
But what do you mean last 2 weeks? It isn't 4 weeks, right? Let's see. Or am I tripping? 1, 2, 3, 4. It is like in 4 weeks.
Well, I feel like you had like 6 weekends.
Oh, weekends. Yeah, let's count it again. So this weekend, 29th.
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
4 weeks. It's basically 4 weeks. Yeah. Let's just say
yeah,
this, like rest, or
our
let's
week.
say rest of March.
Yeah, rest of March stuff. Yeah, and I think because I already went through those questions, some like especially the common patterns that you mentioned, specifically those, I already kind of did them all in JavaScript in 2020 or something like that. I should be able to cover them faster this time in
Yeah.
Python. But yeah, definitely good
Okay.
idea.
Rest of March getting back to the basics, learning common patterns. Leak code explore cards are useful for that as well. Leak code. Like you can go problems. You can go to the explore cards here.
Yeah,
These are helpful too.
Lead Code also has a course, right? Data structure algorithm course right there, 13
Where?
chapters. The first card, second row. No, up more, one more up. Yeah. Oh yeah, that
Oh,
one.
for system design?
For system design and data structure algorithms, what do you
Yeah.
think about that one? Is that you think worth anything or?
I looked at these a bit. I like Grok in the coding interview way better.
Okay, I have this course too, but
Yeah.
I used to buy every single course possible from interview prep, system design.
Oh, do like look at the coding templates as well. These are really good too. Like the 2 pointers.
Yep,
This is a
yep.
really good link.
I looked through all of them already. Yeah.
What about Neatcode? Do you like Neatcode? I haven't really used it, so I don't know. What would you say?
So Neat Code is what I used for the Blind 75 solutions. However, he's great at explaining certain problems. However, in quite a few solutions were not optimal, or I liked my own solution better, for example. So a lot of times, as long as your solution is optimal, like let's say if the best solution is ON space, but you write it in a way where you understand it better, don't necessarily take someone else's solution, right? Eventually, you should get to the level where you're coming up with your own solutions. Yeah, probably a lot of them is going to look the same, but like I mentioned, especially based on what language you're using, Some of the neat code solutions on the site translated are not always as good as some of the other ones I found, for example. But he's great at explaining concepts in the video, and most of the Python solutions are good, But yeah, I think I had a student before that I was helping with LeetCode as well, and he was just relying on NeetCode. One issue is, like the NeetCode has his own editor there, so he was not using LeetCode.
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote some solution and it compiled on the NeetCode platform, but that test case, that code didn't compile on the LeetCode platform. So just little things like that. But in general, I think he has great explanations and is very well known
Yeah.
by the coding community.
Yeah. Hooray, a pen. I answered that already for Amazon Loop. I'll send a video on that. Let's answer some more questions on the chat. There's a lot of questions. Me and Alex will get through all of them. Any resources for OOP interview object oriented programming? I would say just study the basics. I would say go on Real Python.
Grokking also has object-oriented course, like the educative or whatever.
Yeah, that's also good. Let's see. Put this here.
But also in some cases, if you never like did object-oriented programming, like it's some concepts like SQL. If you never professionally used SQL or you build some project with it, you're not going to be just able to learn it by reading.
Yeah.
You have to actually implement.
Okay, let me look through the. Okay, 5.4 and learn Python object oriented using this is a good documentation. I read this a lot for learning it up at work. I do object oriented at work, and then just build small projects like a to-do list in Python object oriented programming. Have a bias for action. Don't just read everything. Have a bias for actually implementing stuff and working through the bugs and everything. Amazon Loop, study the Amazon tag questions on buy premium, study the Amazon questions, Amazon leadership principles and everything. Do the star format and make sure that you have situations, tasks, and do the star format, but make sure all of your examples align well with the Amazon leadership principles. How much emphasis is put on dynamic programming? Meta doesn't really ask for dynamic programming. Some of the Google likes to ask for dynamic programming, but most other companies don't really ask for dynamic programming that hard. But I would still practice it. Go ahead.
I had a friend that passed his Snapchat interviews. He said in the final interview, every question was dynamic programming.
Oh, wow.
But then I have a friend who's a manager or that also did like coding interviews in Snapchat, and he said he didn't get any dynamic programming. And I think just because they say there's no dynamic programming, they still might ask you a question that could be solved with dynamic programming, but maybe they'll let you use like recursion, but maybe, well, I guess recursion memorization is kind of like TP. But yeah, it depends, I think, on the company. Like, it's better to be prepared for everything, right?
Yeah.
But you never know what you're gonna get anyway.
That's what I was. That's why I just buy premium and study the tagged questions. I found that the best way to prepare for a specific company.
Someone asked about that Cracking the Coding interview book.
It's okay book. It's an okay book.
There's a new version that just came out.
Yeah,
I actually have it. I just bought it.
Is it good?
Well, I mean, I haven't opened it yet, but I think they're in collabo now with interviewing.io.
Wow.
I think what could be useful on that platform is seeing other people's recorded interviews and seeing how they answer the questions from coding to system design to behavioral. So maybe if you're interviewing for Amazon, whoever was writing it, right, you have a loop. Maybe if you have like interview.io account, go look up like Amazon leadership principles loop, like practice interview. That might help. And I think from what I understand, the because Team Blind, I read about the author that wrote the book, Cracking the Code, the new one. I think a lot of people were asking them the same question: what's the point of it and stuff like that. I think they added a lot of new things into the book, such as preparation, just like a lot of different information they didn't have before, and they updated, I think, the problems for the current market or something like that because they're in a collabo with the person from interviewing.io and some other engineers as well. So I think it's been more updated. But yeah, man, like a lot of people ask about books, different courses, but then you see people also say, oh, I don't want to pay for Lead Code Premium, right? So I think the more you invest in yourself, if you don't want to like spread too thick and just do everything, just take one course and focus on it. That's better than not doing anything, right?
Yeah, I agree. Leandro, been following the channel for about a week. Thanks for all the banger content. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining in. Thoughts on possibly leaving an internship midway through it? I mean, internships are usually 3 months. I would just finish it off,
Yeah,
unless
man.
you
If
have a
you're
good reason to leave
not
it.
gonna look good, you're not gonna be able to use it. It was a waste
Yeah,
of time.
it's like a waste of whatever time you had. I recently had a online assessment. Okay, send it through. GMT, what's up?
One
And
thing I noticed
oh, go
about
ahead.
online assessments, the questions sometimes are way harder than the actual like technical phone screens, right?
Oh no, for sure, 100%.
Yeah,
Most of those online assessments are harder
yeah.
than yeah. So I'm gonna have a final round with Amazon next week. It's late March. Am I cooked? I don't know. How prepared are you? Just
Yeah.
it all depends on how prepared are you.
You don't know your level of skill.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to test yourself? Do the Lead Code Amazon mock interview.
yeah, exactly. Do the Leak Code Premium mock interview. It's really hard, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, how would you describe a successful intern? I would say a successful intern is able to ask a lot of questions and learn the technology really fast, and is able to actually have a project out by the end of it. Honestly, what I've seen with a lot of interns is there's interns who really try to get something out by the end of it, like a project they have in their resume, but some just don't really want to get anything out or get distracted with other things. So I would say if you're able to finish your internship with an actual project complete, I would say that's a win and that's already successful. And try to have a project that has, hopefully they give you a project that has some sort of business impact and that might go into production, and then actually get it done. I think that's the main thing with internship is they try to give you a project that's scoped to be 3 months or 2 months, and then so you should make sure that you actually finish that project. That's the main thing. That's a successful intern. If I hire someone as an intern and they come out with a project and that production, we could eventually go live with it and we don't have to throw it out. That's a successful intern. What do you
Y-
think?
I also think there's like a dichotomy where you shouldn't be scared to ask questions, but at the same time, don't be just asking questions nonstop. Like, first do some research, propose your own answers, and then go ask the question by saying, like, hey, not sure how to do this, but from what I understand, I can do this or that. That means they'll see that you actually put in work to research something versus just like nonstop asking questions
Yeah.
because they're probably working on other things as well. But like I said, it's a dichotomy because you also don't want to be, that intern that's super scared to ask questions, and then by the end of the week, or whatever, you haven't done anything because you were scared to ask and was stuck. So you have to balance it out.
Yeah. I think actually, Alex, that's like a perfect point. I think when you go into a conversation, you should have formed your own opinion a little bit. Like have your understanding of, like if you come to me and ask me how to solve a specific leak code question and you never even tried it or looked at it, the conversation is not going to be as successful as if you tried it. Maybe you have your own opinion on how it should work. Maybe it didn't work, and we could just work from there. We could figure out, oh, you didn't get it because you didn't think of this case, or you didn't get it because you went down the wrong way. But if you didn't try it at all, we're gonna get nowhere. So I think that's perfect. What Alex said of forming your own opinion before you join, or like before you ask a question. Don't just spam questions and expect the engineer to like be able to answer for you. with no context.
Yeah, you want to show that you put an effort, and make their job as easier as possible,
I agree.
right? The intern, and especially if you want to, get a return offer or whatever, they're like, oh man, that guy was really on point, and he was like bringing up really good, interesting points, suggestions. That's what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
They want someone that they can see is not there just to make money, but is like actually interested in the company.
Yeah.
Ask even questions like, how are we getting clients retentions? Like, our salespeople, how much time are they spending on like reports? Like in a lot of companies, I even wrote like internal tools that would generate reports to help like account managers or salespeople versus them doing it manually. So you want to like uh, do more research into the company, even not just coding. Like a lot of engineers are too focused on the coding. What are like how's your company getting customers? Is it going to help them to get more customers? Maybe there's some kind of like tool you can suggest on the side. So think bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no such thing as a dumb question, but there's definitely unprepared questions, and you want to always come with prepared questions. Come with questions that you've researched a little bit. Otherwise, it's just gonna sound like you're coming unprepared and just asking without ever looking at. That's probably the worst thing is when people ask questions but never tried it for themselves or never like haven't even looked at it. They kind of expecting you to just solve it for them. So I would say, yeah, form your own opinions before coming in and asking questions.
Yeah, plus there's AI now. Go ask that question in AI first. Give specific information of like related to the context of what you're looking for, and then ask the engineers. Obviously, don't put like the company's code in the AI and stuff because that's probably not allowed. But if you have some questions about like some maybe system design or something like that, just hey, we're running Postgres, but for this project they're also letting me use MongoDB. What would be better for writes or reads? Ask the AI first and then bring up that to the engineer because they might have different contexts, right? Like, oh, we don't have licensing for the specific product. That's why we're using this, even though this would be more productive. So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, GMT's like passion and willingness to learn goes further than most people realize, I think.
yeah.
I think so too. I think passion and willingness to work is what makes people successful over just raw talent. What do you think about that, Alex? Like, what makes someone successful? You do you think?
Consistency. The consistency. Like you could be passionate but not do anything, right? You can have will, but then you'll go to the gym twice a week and then stop. But if you consistently go, even if you don't want to, you'll you'll outwork someone that's not consistently doing it. I think consistency is the most important thing.
I agree. Yeah, consistency with everything, even when it comes to algorithms, even comes to software engineering, learning new skills, everything, and everything takes time to learn. So take your time learning. Just focus on the day to day of actually learning stuff and the process of learning, and don't just focus so hard on the outcome of oh I want to get this job, oh I want to be buff. You know what I mean? Like focus on okay, how am I gonna get buff? I'm gonna focus on getting to the gym every day and actually eating well every single day.
Yeah, that's a concept from Scott Adams' book, right? He had this whole thing where goals are for losers, systems are for winners, right? If your goal is to lose weight or become good at lead code, but that's all you're thinking about, every day you're kind of disappointed, right? Because you're not at your goal yet. But if you have a system, every day I eat 2,000 calories, I do an hour workout, or I do an hour of patterns, like 2 pointers today, heap tomorrow. You're not looking at the goal. I need to get the job and thinking I didn't get a job yet today, right? You'll outwork the person that just thinking about the goal and not following the system. You gotta have a system to follow.
Mm. Mike wants you to give like a 30-second elevator pitch, or like of yourself quickly. He missed the first part.
Oh,
You
Mike.
introduce
Well,
or
why don't you
whatever.
rewind
Yeah, yeah. He
the
introduced
video?
himself like 3 times now. So,
Yeah, yeah.
would you recommend reaching out to other engineers and organizations for a quick coffee chat? I think networking is really important.
I think networking is important, but the issue here, what advantage do they have to go on a coffee chat with some random dude? Like you gotta offer value. You gotta think about some value you can offer versus
Mhm.
going in coffee chat. Like when you reach out to people, you have to understand you're taking their time, right? Like they have to read your messages. They're probably getting other messages. They probably have to lead code themselves
Yeah,
or will go to the gym. You need to bring value first. That's one issue I see, like with a lot of people that understand. You got to give first before you receive. Same thing with investing. Instead of being cheap and not buying like lead code premium, well, maybe that question, if you had premium, you've seen and it popped up on the interview, you would have passed. But because you were being cheap, you didn't provide value, boom, you didn't get value. So you got to think about what can you offer to that person first,
yeah, no, I
not
agree.
coffee dates. The people that are busy and successful don't go on coffee dates with random people.
Yeah. So, what do you suggest? What kind of value would they could they bring to that coffee chat?
Well, it depends. It's all context based, right? Let's say they have some kind of startup or something, right? And you open their website and you find some errors. You can record a quick. This is just random screen recording. Oh, check this out. I open developer inspect. You guys having some errors on this website. I don't know if you knew about it. Boom, send them a quick overview what you can help them with or something like that. That's just a random example. Or maybe there's some kind of high value event you can invite them to, like a charity event they're interested. You got to get to know their interests and appeal to that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be different for each case. I cannot just give you a general aspect. Everyone sees value in different things.
Yeah, no, that's actually excellent advice. Instead of like spending your time going on coffee chats, I mean, you can, but yeah, like what it should be mutually beneficial. Unless you
Exactly.
really want to, unless they meet up with you and they also like you and you just want to connect and be friends and stuff like that. But if you just come in and all you're expecting at the end of the day is like a referral or something, it's not going to be your best relationship.
Yeah.
People will message well, asking for a referral right away, even though I don't know them. When I give referrals, I need to like give a spiel and vouch for that person. So it's really hard to do that. So I would
Well, let me
say,
ask you,
go ahead.
James, if some random person just messaged you on the chat or in Discord, hey, James, let's go get coffee. It's like, I don't know who you are. Why would I do this? I have my own plans, right? So, like, the thing is, a lot of people just think from their perspective what I can get. Put yourself in their shoes, right? Why would they do that? Like a lot of engineers, unfortunately, don't have the best, like, EQ, not IQ, emotional intelligence. So their social skills are like very off. I used to do sales and marketing as well and approaching and all this stuff. So I have a different understanding of things a bit than the typical engineer, but this is the breakdown I'm giving you, right? Like there's like three ways to think about things almost, right? From your perspective, their perspective, and someone else's perspective that's looking onto both of you.
Hmm.
Three, you got to think in those matters when you offer things, right? So it's like if someone messaging you for a coffee date, but you don't know anything about them and they need like a job from you. It's like, all right, well, unless that person doesn't have anything better to do, I don't see a reason why they would help you or meet up with you.
Yeah, like when you mentioned that, like yeah, usually if someone messages me they want to do a coffee chat, my schedule is like I'm busy. I like to help people, like that's why I hop on the stream, hop on the thing. I usually don't mind helping people for free, but yeah, usually I like to help people who I see a lot of potential in as well. Maybe they've already been grinding leak code and they're already grinding leak code or getting good at it. They're hopping on my streams and they're like being active on the streams. I interact a lot with people who are active on my streams because I know that they're actually grinding leak code and they actually care about leak code. If someone just comes to me and I never met them or I never seen them on my streams and I don't know that they're grinding leak code, maybe they're not really interviewing, then it would be hard for me to like coach them because I don't have much context on what they're doing.
Yeah, and if you have a specific question, ask that, right? Because it's also very kind of abstract. Like, what are you meeting up for, or like, what are you trying to get? But usually, yeah, like, you can find maybe if they're like a machine learning engineer and you find a cool event, you can also try just sending them a link, like, oh, this cool event, is that something you're gonna go check out? Maybe the link up there, at least something like that, where it's also beneficial, like they were gonna go there anyway. Or
Yeah.
buying someone that's like making a lot of money coffee, it means nothing to them, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's just people that don't want to pay for gift code premium. Example, buying coffee is a big deal to them.
Okay. Well, let's get back to system design part.
Yeah.
Or somebody's asking because what other languages are used at Apple? By the way, that's another question from the chat. No, this is good
uh
stuff though, Alex. Like we're getting into some good convo about like
Yeah.
career advice.
So I worked in the Apple retail department, which was I was working on vendor management, budgeting system, janitorial services for their Apple stores. So surprisingly, that software was written in PHP, Code Igniter, and Angular JS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they updated it or not. I, that was a while ago, but it was specific to that internal Apple retail specifically. My department was responsible for building out Apple stores, and the software I was working on, like I said, like let's say like a window or table breaks in the store, they use that software to make a service order for specific stores. So I rewrote the whole system and new features from scratch by myself. Actually, it's yeah, a lot of work, but that's why I was there over 2 years as a contractor.
Nice. For the system design part of the interview loop, is there a focus on low level design versus high level design? Are we supposed to dive down to the APIs in class level? I think it all depends on the company and also if you're interviewing for a product role or infrastructure role. I would say product roles are a lot more high level design. So figuring out, I would say how I'd break it down. There's the product level ones where you're like designing a product from scratch. So you're building how is the front end gonna interact with the back end. You definitely have to mention the APIs and the data models. You definitely have to really dig into the server and client interactions and think about things from a product and user perspective as well. But then when you get into the more infrastructure related stuff, those are more of the infra related interviews. You're thinking about more about like the cap theorem, reliability, scalability, all the different ilities, and also diving deep into like pretty much everything really focused. Everything like way lower level design when it if you read designing data intensive applications, that's way more focused on if you're doing like infra related
Hmm.
interview loops.
Yeah, just to follow up to DNA production question about the Apple Swift. Like I said, I worked in a different department. I was not working on the Apple apps, but there's a lot of different departments. Then someone also had the questions about Meta, right? Raccoon.
Yeah,
I got a
yeah.
question for Alex. By why Meta? Well, listen. First of all, I'm not at Apple anymore. I'm was working different startups, but you have to understand, like Meta laid off people, but at the same time they're rehiring all the same positions, and every company has layoffs. At least with Meta, when you have layoffs, you get like something like 4 months of severance packaging plus like a week for every week you worked. In some companies, you get laid off, you get nothing. And it's more about also preparing for the interview. If you're able to secure and pass Meta, for example, that means you prepared well enough probably for most other interviews as well. It's not, I'm also interviewing for a lot of other companies, not just Meta. It's all about just having options, right? Just like in dating. People that are just focusing on one company and that's it, I want to get in, usually that's going to be a failure, right? You got to prepare for a bunch of companies
Yeah.
because there's an element of luck as well, not just prep.
No, I agree. Like it's a numbers game at the end of the day.
Yep, just like dating.
Fahim said you have to have a roster.
Yeah, yeah, roster of companies. Yeah, he's right. He's right. Uh,
Um,
Very
okay,
correct.
how are you feeling with system design? How good are you at that right now?
Oh man, not good, man. I need that's one thing I need. Like I have all the resources. Hello interview, Grokking system design. I have the data intensive book, but yeah, I mean, I just been focused more on lead code. I definitely need to Alex Zoo book, whatever. I need to go through all of that. Like I need to start today, basically.
Yeah, I would say if you have Alex Zoo's book, read the first chapter of the first one, where it walks you through scaling a system from like one user to a million users.
Yeah,
That first chapter is one of the best first chapters I've ever seen for a system
I
design
have the
book.
online version of it.
Okay, yeah, read that. Read the first chapter end to end, and that'll give you all the basics. It talks about starting with a simple client to server, simple DNS and how they interact. Then it
Yeah.
talks about horizontal vertically scaling and then caching. Like it slowly takes you from a single client server setup to like a fully horizontally scaled setup with caching and databases and sharding and like everything you ever need to know about system design interviews.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know the basics and the created systems, but yeah, it's just like, when you're not studying that thing, like some terms go out of your head. And yeah, definitely I need to review everything. And so after the first chapter, you think I should jump straight into like hello interview then, or
Yeah.
what do you
I would
recommend?
I would suggest learn by doing.
Mm,
So try designing Messenger by yourself from scratch. Open up Excalidraw completely empty and just try to implement or try to design it from scratch and follow the steps of figure out the functional requirements, the non-functional requirements, start building the APIs, start building the data model, then do a high level design, client server interaction, and then figure out ways that it might break and try to figure out questions. Spend like an hour just trying to get through as much of that as possible and then compare your solution to what you see online
hmm
across
But,
different
but
books.
but that's why I'm asking. Wouldn't help to do that like when the hello interview because they have the AI review thing, the mock, where it would give me the
Yeah,
feedback right
yeah, yeah.
away.
I think that's good, but I also like to do it completely from scratch in Excalidraw because in a real
Okay.
interview they won't walk you through those steps. So
Oh, okay.
I noticed like they just walk you through those steps and you're getting way too much feedback right away. In real interview you don't get that much feedback right away.
I see.
So
I
you
see.
need to be able to like take a problem and kind of drive it from the start to the end with no feedback. Most of the time the interviewer is going to be nodding their head and asking very basic questions. Like
Okay.
that
Yeah.
hello interview gives you a lot of feedback at each step and it makes you like iterate to places you probably wouldn't even iterate to, and it tells you exactly what to deep dive into. You should think about what would be good deep dives yourself, but I would do both. I would first do it myself, then I would mix it, do some by myself, do some using hello interview. And when you're looking at the solutions, look at the solutions across different websites. Open up the Alex Zoo book, they have a messenger. Go on hello interview, they have a messenger. Go on Grokking the system design, they also have messenger. So you have to, and all three of those are different.
Mm.
So you need to see the different perspectives.
What which one do you think out of all those like has a better design? Because like you said, they're different for the same questions sometimes, right?
I mean, Hello Interview is designed by people at Meta.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a job at Meta, like that, they pretty much giving you the answer key.
Yeah. 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 I
But
just watched his interview as well. Um,
like Grokking the or Alex Zoo books are so pretty easy to get through. You can read through that whole book in like a week, honestly.
yeah. Yeah. So that's what I was actually planning to do. Go through Alex Zoo book and then start going through the hello interview.
I'll say with the Alex Zoo book, just literally read the first chapter because the next chapters are actual questions, and try the question out for yourself. Even if your design completely sucks,
Mm-hmm.
like look at it and see what you did wrong and improve. Spend most of the time learning by doing. I'm gonna write this down.
Interesting approach. Okay. So
Yeah, what
instead
were
of
you thinking initially?
just going through all the Alex Zoo book and then hello interview and do the mock-ups with the AI with the hello interview because I already paid for the course.
I mean, I would say system design is just like lead code. Imagine you just read all the patterns but never did a
Gotcha.
question.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's I wouldn't say it's like lead code, right?
yeah,
Because
it's just
there's
lead
not
code.
really like right or wrong since you can convince the person with your design for a specific thing, right? So I feel like it's more contextual, right? Based
Yeah, I see.
like, are we gonna have more reads or writes? Okay. Are we gonna do a lot of like joins and the queries? Yeah, yeah. I mean, lead code is like one line doesn't work, it does not compile, right? Where here it's kind of all right, like I feel like, it's a little bit different, but I see what you're saying. It's better just to practice versus try to
Yeah.
read it first and then remember it, right? Um,
I would do
yeah.
both though. Like if I'm really tired and I don't want to try it, just straight up just read one end to end. But like definitely get practice in and get practice in early so you know if you're good or not.
So how many hours do you think per day to spend on the system design?
Okay, how many days, how many hours a day are you gonna be studying realistically? What's your breakdown of your day, by the way? Let's talk about that and let's figure out like how your day, how we're gonna like plan your days up until. I know you like to work out. I know you like to do other stuff as well.
No, I'm not doing any other stuff now. I've done a lot of that already. But I mean, realistically speaking of what I have on my calendar, okay. So I wake up at 3 a.m., right?
Oh my god.
Go hit the gym. Usually, I do like 20-minute hot steam room, all that stuff. So I was gonna code from 7 to 8:30, 90-minute Pomodoro timer, then 8:30 to 10.
Wait,
So
what were you
lead
saying?
code.
8:30 to 9:30.
No, 7 to 10, 3 hours. I'm trying to do at least 6 hours of lead code daily.
7 to 10 lead code.
Yeah, 7 to 10 lead code, then a break, lunch, system design session from 11:30 to 1 p.m., then lead code again from 1 to 2:30, then lead code again from 2:30 to 4, and do like work on resumes and send out resumes from 5 to 6, 6 to 7:30, do like behavioral
Uh,
interview prep,
okay.
maybe
Don't do
system design.
behavioral interview prep until you're closer.
Okay.
I'll help you with that too.
All
But
right.
11:30 to
Maybe
1.
maybe doing like then from like in the evening doing more like front end work like React and TypeScript. I need to catch up because some of the interviews are gonna be based on that.
So you're saying one? Okay, 11 to 3, 11:30
Basically,
to 1.
from I wake up at 3 and trying to go to sleep at 7:30 or 8. So basically, from like 7 a.m. let's say to 7:30, I'm free to lead code system design. Obviously, I'm getting technical interview calls as well and all this stuff. But in general, let's say I have a completely free day, right? This is the best case scenario, let's say. Uh, I can do lead code system design, JavaScript, everything from,
Yeah, that's a
from 7.
crazy packed day. Okay, wait. What's 11:30 to 1 system design? I'm just writing this down. What's the next one?
Uh, yeah, then from 1 to 2:30 lead code, from 2:30 to 4 lead code, then 1 hour walk. I also do a walk before first lead code session. I'm trying to hit 10K steps a day. Then from 5 to 6 is like send out resumes, talk to. Sometimes during daytime I have to talk to recruiters as well, so I cannot like plan that out. But from 5 to 6, let's say, send out resumes to like companies like Airbnb, Netflix, to get through, maybe get referrals, and then let's say from 6 to 7:30. Okay, you're stuck at system design at 1, right? Or where you at right
Oh
now?
no, 1 to 2:30, 3 to whatever. I think let's just look at this, or let's just break it down to like how much time we want to spend at lead code. How what are your waking out, or how much days are you hours are you gonna spend actually studying? And we could just break it down
All
to
day,
that.
all day.
How many is that? Like 10 hours of studying?
Uh, Yeah, from 7 to 8. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, if you have like 10 hours of studying, probably do 4 hours of lead code. Let's start with this. Or no, I would say 5 hours
Oh,
of lead code,
yeah.
two hours of system design. Dude, this is a crazy schedule. This is like some
Yeah.
David Goggins for software.
I'm David Goggins, baby. Gotta be David Goggins, dude.
two
Yeah,
hours of system design, 2 hours of JS TypeScript. Let's spend like 1 hour with recruiters.
yeah. I mean, realistically, I spent like 3 hours with recruiters like last Thursday, and I had like 2 hours of technical interviews on Friday. So this is like when I don't have anything else, right?
Yeah. How does this look? 5 hours of, and Faint, I got you. So 5 hours of leak code, 2 hours of system design, 2 hours of JavaScript, TypeScript, 1 hour recruiters.
Amazing. Yeah. Well,
Nice.
if 1 hour recruiters, I would say like maybe 1.5 sending out resumes, maybe, um, kind of a combination of that, right? Because
Low
right
Phil's
now
like, so
I
he's
have
saying
like
why you'll grind or y'all actually grind that hard?
not y'all, but I do.
No, yeah. He's saying
Yeah.
he's like yeah. Why are you grinding so hard?
That's what kind of question is that?
Like, what's your goal?
to get to get as many offers as I can.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I love that.
yeah, man. Like, why wouldn't you grind hard? I already done everything else I want to do. So, like, what else are you trying to do? Like, if you're not gonna grind hard, you're gonna lose to someone that does grind hard, right? So,
No, I agree.
and like most people cannot grind hard because they have to work all day. I just have an opportunity right now. My contract ended, so I have all day to work. It's like saying, why wouldn't you go heavy at the gym so you can be weak all day? Like the more you grind right now, the more you invest right now, the less you're gonna have to work in the future. That's how you
I
should look
agree.
at it.
And low, honestly, even when I was in UGrad, I had a crazy schedule like this too. I was grinding so many leak code questions, grinding system design, JavaScript, TypeScript. You gotta treat it serious.
Yeah, it's a
And
full-time job, man. This prep stuff, it's a full-time job, realistically speaking, right?
yeah. Okay, how are you feeling about this setup right now? 1 hour, 5 hours. Just stick to that. Yeah. Okay. I think
Like,
that's okay. He's saying, are you actually retaining though after that much of like working that hard? Is it a good
well,
strat?
the thing is, you have to understand what this 5 hours of lead code means to you, right? Because a lot of it could be going back to old questions that you solved before as well, or you haven't solved. So, yeah, if you're just solving questions nonstop, right? For me, it takes longer to do more questions. So I need to put in more time because I like to really dig into it. I want to look at the best solution possible. Then I want to be able to implement it. A lot of people just like they cannot solve it. They look at the solution after 20 minutes and move on. But then in 3 days, they're not going to be able to solve it. the I'm not like running through questions. I'm actually like sitting down and implementing every solution, and so that's why I need more time to work on it.
Yeah. Cool. You got any? Okay. You got anything left that you want to talk about related to like preparing for meta? Because I think we have an hour. The video's an hour so far. Of our meta prep. I mean, we
That's
got
good.
into a lot of other fun stuff. So
It
might
is.
be
It is fun stuff that a lot of engineers don't really talk about. That could help. Um, yeah, I think the hardest part about this whole thing is it's not just lead code, right? It's balancing interview calls with the recruiters, doing research on different companies before the calls. Because like if I'm talking to 7 different companies, I need to show them interest and remember what the company is about.
Mhm.
Uh, Sometimes with the recruiters, I talk for a while, and they're like actually very interested in me because they can tell like I'm a little bit different from typical developer, right? Just standing out, preparing for behavioral, updating your resume, doing system design. It's like you have to do like 5 or 6 different things for this like interviews to pass, right? And one thing is like I'm also interviewing with startup companies. Their interviews are actually shorter than the FANG companies, but then it's like they're gonna ask you to do some kind of TypeScript component or debug some code in their code base. I feel like that's harder to prepare than the typical language agnostic lead code. Yeah, you have to grind it and it's hard, but at least like once you get to a certain level, you know what to expect. Where with a random company where they might make you do a project or debug their code, how do you prepare for that? It's more randomized.
Yeah, that's why I always notice that trying to get a job at a startup, especially like a high growth one, is harder than even Fang sometimes. Because with Fang, you could just look up what questions people are asking and also the tag questions and then just spam those. But when you go to a startup, you don't know what they're gonna ask and it's super randomized. You gotta kind of prepare generally for anything and everything.
Exactly. And before I started my lead code journey, I was scared of lead code. So I was always aiming for startups because I'm like, I don't want to do algorithm questions. I was like really scared of them. But like I said, from my experience, and it depends on the startup, right? Like when I say startups, I'm not talking about like Lyft or something. That's a still big company. I'm talking about like, let's say Series B or seed round startups, right? A lot of times they'll pay less and expect more because there's like less engineers and the random interview process. You might have to like pair program something with the engineering manager, or like you might have to work on the code base and fix something, right? So I feel like I'm starting to enjoy the language agnostic algorithms way more than all this. Like I got prepared TypeScript, like I haven't done it in a while, and I'm
Yeah,
doing lead code, right? I don't really want to invest a lot of time into TypeScript if a lot of my interviews are going to be just algorithms, right?
yeah.
So that's the issue.
Could you answer the questions in the chat real quick where they're talking about? Yeah, they just have questions about the Apple interview process. How can you quickly explain how startups work? I think one thing I wanted to get your perspective on is should someone join a bigger company or a smaller company when they first start out, or like what are the pros and cons for working out in those? I'll be right back. Answer those out.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because since I started in startups, uh, I had to learn, I think, way more than what you typically would learn joining a big company, because I had to learn, MySQL, setting up servers on Amazon EC2, or working with salespeople, product. Because like some companies I worked on, there's only two engineers, and I was one of them. So I was responsible. You are gonna learn way more. You'll have maybe more work, but your skill set will grow more, right? Versus like I had friends that, let's say, their first job was PayPal. 2 years in, when they're entering for another company, the guy never touched MySQL, didn't know how to write MySQL queries, right? Where for me it was like mind blowing because my first job is like I'm writing super, like advanced SQL queries with PHP and all that stuff because no one else is gonna do it. Like I guess in the bigger companies also there's their own software layers and a lot of things that are abstract. So sometimes you don't learn things specifically versus in a smaller company, it's more loose, less procedures, less compliance. So there's more like freedom to do things as well. But a lot of times they also pay less, right? So it's pro and a con. If you want to learn a lot, then joining a startup in the beginning could help a lot, I think. But since it's your first job, you also don't want to get like scared and think that that's how every job is going to be and require a lot from you, right? So there are pros and cons with that. And let's be honest, like not everyone is just going to join like a FANG company as their first job.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think LeetCode accurately determines if a candidate is qualified or not?
Oh, perfect. I love to answer this. Okay. So one thing is people that don't lead code, they hate lead code and they're like, it's not a good way to test candidate skills. But here's the thing, right? And you don't use that at work, right? But here's the thing. After you lead code for a while, you actually start to understand, your day-to-day job becomes easier. Your logic improves in general, right? Because it's a lot of logic, right? Second of all, these big companies, right? They have so many candidates. What would you rather they give you like a 2-day project to do and then not hear back after you finish the project? Because that happened to me with startups before. They give you like a 2-week, like 2-day project, and you finish it and then you never hear back. They have to sort through the candidates fast enough, right, to make a decision. They wouldn't have time to test your skills any other way. So they're basically testing for two things: either you're a genius and get these problems like this, or you show you show that you can be consistent and grind and put in work, which is the type of person they want to work anyway. So it does make you better as a coder, and it does show that you can grind and passion. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? The difference between like us and chess masters, right? Chess master is not gonna complain about the rules of the game or try to change it. He's just better than us at it, right? So instead of complaining about how something works, get good at it. That you're not gonna change the game. So why even think about something you cannot change?
No, I agree.
And that goes to everything: dating, working out, everything. You cannot expect your hopeful thinking to become the reality. Oh yeah, this is a bad test of skills, lead code. Let me show off my React component skills. Like, let them give me that project, and then they can pay me 500,000. No, it's not the reality. Okay, so you gotta just adapt.
No, I agree. When you do leak code questions, you learn so much random syntax of your language too. You practice that as well.
Exactly. Best way to learn a language, like Python, for me, all I did was just lead code in it, and I learned so many features just by doing lead code.
Yeah. And just like what you mentioned, just the logical thinking. It really, working through a leak code interview strains your mind like no other, I swear. It gets you frustrated. If you're not getting frustrated constantly, or if you're not getting frustrated, then you're not learning anything. If you're not really getting to a point where you have no idea what's going on, then you're just kind of pretend your whole day you're just working on things that you already know how to do. You're not going to get any better. You're not going to train your mind. It's like you're not progressively overloading your brain. If you go to a gym and you just keep doing the same weight, you're not going to get any stronger. You're not going to make any gains that way.
Yeah, and like I said, I was one of those people that was like a super anti lead code. I was just doing like learning Ruby and Rails stack or doing projects and only targeted companies that gave you like projects or non-lead code question. But you know, uh, the easier the point of barrier to entry, the worse it is, right? If it's easy to get in the job and they're not testing you and it's easy, that means like think about what kind of engineers passed as well, right? So it's not just for you, it's like what kind of coworkers you're going to be working with. If they're able to pass lead code and HARs, that means they're probably like pretty bright people, right? It's like, let's be honest, it's like a basic IQ test as well, right? And memorization skills sometimes, right? But you need to have that, you know. So
Yeah. James Smith, I'll send you a video. I'll send you the video I did on how to get good at leak code. That's my strategy. And just like a whole 30 minutes I can go on about that topic of how to get good at leak code. So I just made a video on it. But pretty much learn the underlying patterns, learn the basics, learn the fundamentals, and like dig into the other stuff.
yeah. Um,
But I'll
so
send the video. Hey, dude, want your suggestion on how the mindset of freshers must be while entering the industry? I mean, I don't. What do you mean by that? Let's
like
see.
someone that's new,
Like
yeah.
or go ahead, Alex.
If I understand his questions correctly, it's like what should be the mindset when you're just your first job or something, right? Is that what he's trying to ask, or
Yeah, like, what do you
like,
mean? Like, what do you mean the mindset? New grads. What's your goal? I would also figure out what's my goal in the industry as well. I mean, if you're my goal always was that I always had higher goals than just moving up the ladder or just securing like a job and becoming a senior software engineer. I wanted like my goals is eventually start a company or be such a good engineer that I can build things that I want into reality. So when I would approach my jobs, most of the time I just want to learn as much as I can, and that also guides me into switching jobs as well and picking the right jobs. I want to join companies where I'm going to learn the most, and I'm going to take out skills that not are just going to apply to my career in software engineering, but also apply to my life. So if I join an early stage startup, I'll learn so much about starting a business. I'll actually get to talk to customers. I'll actually get to like work with people closely. I'll work on high stakes projects, like launch the company internationally. These are skills that I want to know for future aspirations and future ambitions. So I would say like there's everyone has their different goals. Some people really come in and their main goals, I want to be a senior or staff engineer at Google. That was never my goal, so it's never like there's it's like a different process to each one. So I need to understand more specifically what you're thinking. And Alex, like chime in a bit on like what if you have
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Like I mentioned, I know people that worked at Visa for 10 years, right? I mean, how much learning can you do there, right? Versus, for example, in the beginning, I joined a bunch of startups, so I have a better idea of certain technologies. Maybe let's say they didn't use at Visa, or how the sales team works, because I had to directly work with the sales team and build tools for them. I just you like if you want to build a startup yourself, maybe it does make sense to learn to work more in a startup environment to see, how does the CEO motivate their smaller teams versus you never see your CEO, right? So there's no general rules, guys, right? It's more about like what are your specific goals. That should be the first thing. There's a lot of people I feel like they don't even have goals, but they just like I'm not talking about this chat, but in general, right? Like they might ask a random question, but it's like, but what is your goal? Because that question might not even relate to your goal, right? And like I mentioned before, like if you want to learn have a lot of pressure on you and learn a lot of new skills and techniques, then join a startup, right? Or like a guy I know that worked at PayPal that didn't write a single MySQL query, right?
Yeah.
Because it was all abstract. So it depends what your goal is. Do you want to just go rest and vest somewhere, which I think is kind of hard nowadays anyway, or you want to like grind and learn things? So it depends. What are you looking for, right? For me, it was also having more of my own business. Like I started my own website agency before, so I learned sales skills. Like I did sales over the phone. I used to live in Bali, close people over the phone myself. So I already have skills that not a single engineer has just because of doing that. Did marketing, I created content before. I would say if you can stick out of the bubble of engineer stereotype, just sits on their computer all day in the office and learn other skills, which is social skills. A lot of engineers don't have those. Marketing yourself properly, uh, meaning what to say, not to say, even in meetings or with engineers or recruiters. You'll get ahead way more than a typical engineer.
Yeah. Okay, Madi's asking, what's a good duration to stay at a company? It's like there's no rules, like Alex said. I would say, what are your goals? So, for example, the way I structured switching companies was my goal at some point, I want to try to start my own startup. So, I want to learn as fast as possible and learn as much as possible. So, that's how I decide when to switch companies. If your goal is to get like to a staff engineer, it might make more sense staying at your specific company and grinding because it's easier to get to staff engineer than to get hired into a staff engineer. So pretend I'm already on track to get senior. I got senior in 3 years, and for me to only have 3 years of experience and then switch get to a staff, that's gonna be way harder than if I stayed for 2 more years or 3 more years and get to staff at my current company. So I could like if your goal is to get to staff as soon as possible, maybe just stick at one company and just grind as hard as you can. But if your goal is other things, like you want to start a company, you want to learn about a specific technology, you want to learn how startups are ran, maybe 2 to 3 years at your current company is good enough. You learned a lot about that specific company and switch to a different company and see how things are done in a different perspective, and then maybe switch again.
Yeah, in my opinion, remember this: there is no. loyalty in these companies, right? Even if you're a full-time employee, contractor, you can get laid off, fired anytime, right? Um, Realistically, if you stay for some company for a while, you're not gonna, like, it's unfortunate, but you'll have a higher salary spike if you transfer from companies, right? But at the same time, what James mentioned, right? Like, let's say you're a staff engineer in Meta. I don't think they're gonna just let you become a staff engineer in the other company if you hop,
Mm,
right? They're gonna probably down level you because there's no trust, there's no reputation yet. So I think if you're like at this level where, junior, mid, senior, or whatever, job hopping, unless you're like a top tier company already where they match the, you know, the base, I think changing jobs every 2 years, usually by year two, you kind of tired already of the company. The vesting ends a lot of times, or sometimes 4 years, whatever, right? But your salary increase. Let's not even talk about thing. Let's just talk about a startup, right? For example, af- after a while, like they might even hire people that they pay more money than to you because hiring is more expensive. So what your salary increase might be like 8%, if that 6%, maybe something like that. But if you job up, right, you can increase your salary if you get into like a FANG by like 100,000, 150. So it depends what company you're already working at, your level, and your goals, right? If you want to grow to like staff engineer or like manager, M2 or something like that, then it kind of maybe makes sense to build trust at that company.
yeah.
Versus if you're just optimizing for how much money you can make, then that guy Zach, the data engineer, he was just job hopping like 8 months, year, 2 months, and went from 80,000 to like 500,000, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I job hopped a lot too, like, and that's why I like contracts because job hopping doesn't even look that bad sometimes, right? Or layoffs, whatever. So it's like, I think the longest company I worked for was like maybe a little bit over 3 years, but mostly it's like 2 years and less for me. Because and every time I went, I got more money. So why would I stay there, right? Companies, of course, will build this whole culture, your family, and stuff like that. But remember, it's all business. You're only there because you're providing value and generating them more money than what they're paying you. And what's unfair is if you already learned their stack and build a bunch of successful projects, you prove to yourself and you learn more, but you're still getting paid the same amount, usually, like a normal company. I know like something gives you bonuses and more stocks and RSUs and stuff like that. But we're talking about like just an average company, right?
Mm,
So in that sense, and you've been lead coding maybe for like a year or two, your skills grew, but you're getting paid the same amount. So it makes the job hop then.
yeah. What's the best fan company if you want to make the most amount of money? Probably Meta. Meta goes crazy.
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix or Meta.
I prefer remote companies, so for me that's a big deal as well. So it would be like Netflix, Airbnb, Stripe, um, even Dropbox. They pay a lot, but obviously it's not ranked like the other ones. But any company that pays a lot and like Fang level and it's remote, that's insane,
Yeah.
because you can just live anywhere you want or travel versus coming to the office.
And okay, let me quickly just talk about the job hopping thing one more time because there is pros and cons to job hopping too fast. Job hunting, yeah, will definitely increase your salary, but also it takes time to build reputation and build contacts to the point where you're leading big projects at your company. So when you're trying to get a job as a senior engineer or a staff engineer, they're going to be asking you questions of what projects you've done before, what results you've drove before, how did you handle cross-functional, cross-team, what was like the revenue impact of your projects. Most of the time in the first year at your company, you're not doing projects that's going to be that impactful or that's going to drive that much revenue because maybe there's somebody more tenured working on that project, and if they give you that project you don't have enough context and you won't be able to drive that high impact context. They don't want to set you up for failure. So what I notice with people who switch every 1 to 2 years is they don't really have that big project or a few good projects under their belt that really drove business impact for the company that they could really talk about all day when it comes to like landing that senior or staff role. They didn't really get to that point because they switched too fast. So I would say definitely if what you want if you want to climb the corporate ladder, like spend some time at the company, gain context, gain trust, learn the systems, and take on those big projects at the company. And that those usually come like after year two. So maybe year 2 to 4, you're like pushing these
Yeah.
big projects. But like if you just want to just learn a bunch of things, I mean, you could just like ramp up and then do like some projects. You probably learned like 80% of it and then switch companies. If you're just focusing on learning things, you could do that, but probably you'll have 6 years of experience, and when they go to interview you for a staff role or a senior role, you never really drove that much impact at the company you work for unless you're really really talented.
Yeah, and just to follow up with that, like I said, it depends on the context, right? If you're joining some startup where there's 3 engineers and they need to get the product out, you're going to be working on impact projects right away. But yeah, obviously, if you're in a bigger company, like let's say, I don't know, Amazon, Netflix, obviously, in the bigger company, first 6 months are like pretty much like training
Yeah.
anyway, right? So it depends, right? If you left after 6 months, it doesn't make any sense because you probably just learned the basics of what how the company works and some minor projects, right? Um, yeah, like we mentioned earlier, it depends on your goals, what company you're joining, and the rest, right? Maybe you're stuck or investing in a big company for 4 years, so maybe it makes sense to leave after 4 years. But by that time, maybe you should have already leveled up. If not, move on. Yeah, depends.
Yeah, this is everything's context specific, and just look stuff up, do your own research. Everyone's everyone's situation is different, so do your own research on where it's at. Any tips for staying consistent?
Yeah, have a schedule. Wake up super early. Go to sleep early. Wake up super early. If you wake up before everyone else, I know it sounds crazy that I wake up at 3 a.m., but I used to wake up at 4. But if you wake up before everyone else does, and you also hit the gym, because you wake up feeling groggy either way, but after you hit the gym, you put yourself into a positive frequency, you feel accomplished, you build that momentum already, and people are still sleeping. Imagine you do 3 hours of lead code before anyone else wakes up. You're going to be consistent, but always do the things at the same time. Like become like a, you know, can I swear on YouTube or no?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, become a bitch to your calendar, like hour by hour, kind of like what we were doing. Draw it out and just follow it. You know, that's how you become consistent.
Yeah, how do you like do that over? What's your mindset? How do you even go to sleep early? I think I wake up early, probably like not that early. How do you wake up at 3? Because then I have to sleep early. I'm not. What if I'm not tired?
Well, your body adjusts, right? In college, I used to go to sleep at 3 a.m., like play Warcraft 3 all night. You know, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, your body will adapt, right? So the way you go to sleep early is by going to bed, not being on your laptop, not having blue screen. Easy way is I use earplugs. I have sleeping mask, and worst case scenario, put a if you have YouTube Premium or what's that Amazon audiobook app? Forgot. But just set something playing in the background or like white noise or like maybe some podcast and a 15-minute timer. You close your eyes, you listen to the podcast, you're gonna pass out. Yeah, it's gonna be hard the first week, but then your body adjusts and then you realize how much more stuff you get done. And you're like, oh my God, how come I didn't do this before?
Yeah. What if people want to go out with their friends?
Yeah, I mean, I used to go out a lot, right? That was my biggest issue. I used to almost be like a promoter type, get bottle service and clubs and everything. Yeah, that's a different story, but I believe in having non-negotiable schedules. So there's times I was out till like 12 a.m. and then I woke up at 3 and went to the gym. That was my punishment for staying out. But I'm not saying you should wake up at 3 a.m., but push yourself to wake up an hour earlier than you do now. So, like, if you're waking up at 9 a.m. and going straight to work, wake up at 8 a.m., do like 30-minute workout, maybe lead code problem, then go to work, you know. Yeah, if you, obviously to have, I had a huge social life already, and I spend more in that than my career. So for me, that's not a big deal anymore. But I know I'm a unique case. So yeah, like I'll be honest with you, even when I used to go out every weekend, I would still wake up at 4 a.m. and then Saturday and Sunday I would just like sleep in. But it's not, the healthiest thing to do to change your schedule so much. And but yeah, if you want to have a social life, the thing is a lot of times at night nothing good happens anyway, especially like if you like clubs and all that stuff. It's fun, don't get me wrong, I used to love it, but just then wake up an hour earlier than you usually do and call it at night a specific time. It's all about having a schedule. If you cannot follow the schedule, you're not going to be consistent. It's like asking me, how do I get into paying company without doing lead code? You got to be realistic here. You want to be consistent, you got to have a consistent schedule.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with a lot of that for sure. And I mean, just to be consistent, you need to have a purpose as well. Like, there's a different, the way I like to think about it is there's a difference between being ambitious and just being motivated. If you're motivated, maybe a couple days you're motivated and then another day you're not motivated. But if you have ambitions, like you have more, like an ambitious person has goals for their life. They have like a north star. They have a purpose, and that helps them continue to stay consistent even days that they're not feeling it, days that they're not motivated. It's a personality that you
Yeah.
have to get. It's not like a feeling. So you need to kind of craft your life, really mold yourself into somebody who's ambitious. Think of goals that you have and work towards those goals, and make that, like, internalize that instead of just thinking, oh, one day I'm feeling motivated, one day that I'm gonna work, and one day I'm not feeling motivated. I think even with waking up, that's part of Alex's personality now. That's not just like something he just does.
Yeah, my personality before was going to clubs with a bunch of girls in Vegas. Before that, it used to be going out in San Francisco with friends to Marina. It used to be called Matrix. Now it's like White Rabbit and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So I used to just all do is go out. I mean, I always worked out, right? Either way, even I don't drink anymore. I haven't drank in more than a year, but I used to drink only on weekends with friends, go to clubs and stuff like that. But what I realized is like Monday and Friday, I'm consistent and super determined. And then weekend comes around, Friday, Saturday, and it all goes out of the window. And then Monday I restart. But that's like, taking two steps forward, one step back. It's a slow progress to get into good shape, to get lead code done, especially if you're working. Most of your time free is on the weekend when you can be grinding lead code or building your own startup. And if you're just going out and getting drunk at clubs, it's hard to be productive. You're just living life, which is like, I cannot judge anyone because I used to do that all the time. So it's just, what is your ambition? Like if you want to build a startup and be, like you're gonna have to just grind on the weekend. There's no, there has to be some kind of sacrifice, right? So it's like a cap theorem, right? You can have 2 out of 3: health, wealth, or relationships. So pick 2 out of 3.
I agree. GNA, will AI replace we? I don't think so. I think it'll change how we do our jobs, but we still need people who understand algorithms, understand technology, think logically about software to build and maintain these AI systems and improve them. If AI gives you output and you can never verify how it works, you don't understand a little bit how it's generating its output. And a lot of these AIs are like multi-agent systems that like think and reason. If you can't understand how it's thinking and reasoning, you're gonna be much worse at leveraging these AIs than somebody who can think logically and is trained in software development. So I think software development, honestly, software development, computer science is just problem solving. When you take your degree, if you really just think about it as, oh, I'm learning these languages, you'll never become a good software engineer. Most of the really good software engineers think in terms of patterns and not just languages. And that comes with like AI as well. You're thinking of like patterns and like higher level things than just specific languages and technologies. So I don't think AI is going to replace SWE anytime. I think if you know how to problem solve in this world and you know how to do all the other things, then you're always going to have a job. What do you think, Alex?
I think most of the time when I seen people say that AI will replace software developers are the people that never coded themselves. That's first. Second of all, if AI replaces software development, guess what? It replaces every other job too, then, basically, right? Because there's so much logic, architecture, and putting things together in software development. Every other job, like product manager, project manager, it's all could be replaced then. Then, by that time, it's AGI, right? So there's going to be more worries than just development jobs at that point, right? So another thing is like AI right now. I never heard of a case where a project was just given to AI and it's done by itself. Like, right, there still has to be a person giving it correct prompts, understanding if produce correct code, understanding business requirements, talking to like maybe we cannot use that framework because we have like we don't have license for that, right? I need to change it to something else. Understanding things like, oh, why did you write this in React Native? It's slower for iOS than Swift or something like that, right? So even writing, yeah, there's a lot of people creating apps now, vibe coding and stuff like that. But in my opinion, you still like there's as a software developer, there's more skills than just writing code. It's also like designing systems, understanding how to appeal and sell your product to like the sales team. Like there's it just goes beyond than just
Yeah.
typing syntax in as being a software developer. There's more than goes into it. So haven't seen AI that does the whole thing yet. And if it does, then I think every other job is going to be replaced anyway. Then so
Yeah.
we have a bigger thing to worry about after
Yeah.
that.
What it definitely does though is lower the barrier entry for building a software. Like I've seen people like with an MBA not know anything but have an idea and be able to generate a project.
Hmm.
But basically software engineering has traditionally been a hard job to do, and it's hard to train people up to do the job. I mean, that's why software engineers get paid so much. It's like a supply and demand problem. They have less supply for the demand. That's why they have to pay. Do you think these companies want to pay 500,000 for these? I mean, the companies do generate a ton of money, but I think that's why software engineers also get paid. But there's also a shortage in software engineers as well, or maybe not a shortage of software engineers, but shortage of good software engineers. So what I
Yeah,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
mean, also like the way I'm thinking, at least, and I might be wrong, but this is just my theory, right?
Yep.
If I have a huge company that has 100 developers, right, and now they got this AI tools where MBA person that doesn't know how to code, they can code something. That means my developer that knows how to code will code 10x faster.
Yeah.
So instead of reducing those developers, why don't I just get more developers? That
Yeah.
means we can create more 10x features and products, if anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the way I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Like pretend a company, like the if a company has like 100 people working like 10x better, then a company with 10 people doing 10x the job, they're gonna have to also hire people to compete as well. And as
Yeah.
productivity increases, like it's a
Yeah.
competition. If my company generated so much money with like 100 people, and I have enough money to hire more people, and I feel like if I hire these more people, I can generate even more profit and even more like for my company, then I would hire them as well. Like hire more people and then just keep increasing my revenue and hiring more people.
Yeah. Also, I think we're going to be even more valuable because unfortunately, a lot of these guys are living in vibe coding right now. So there's going to be a lot of, horrible AI generated code and developers that don't know how to code that are entering the market at like junior level just because they learned how to use AI and stuff like that. Right. So I think having the ability to code without AI, it's like someone, able to write binary code basically back in the day for us, right? That's a high skilled person. If you can write binary code, you'll be able to learn like C++ and everything. So if anything, it's reducing the barrier to entry at the junior level right now, but it's also creating an abstract layer where people are not going to be learning the fundamentals just as well because they're just going to rely on AI to create the code for them. But then when something goes wrong and AI cannot fix it, another thing also, a lot of the companies, and I worked on a lot of them, right? So they have such code bases with no documentation. AI is not going to be able to understand the context. That's another thing. Like you're going to have to train a lot of it and explain to it. Because even right now, uh, like I like Grok 3 actually. I tried OpenAI, Clouds 3.7. I like using Grok 3 right now. It's giving pretty good answers. But like a lot of times I'll paste the same question in a lot of this AIs. Sometimes like certain things, it's like it would be easier if I just wrote it myself than giving it directions for
Yeah.
like 30 minutes to give it to me the right output specifically. I mean, it's still a great tool, and most of the time, it just saves you grunt work of what you don't want to do, so you can focus on bigger picture. But sometimes it takes time to even get like good results from it in the first place. And if you don't know how to code, and you just like prompt engineering, you're like, okay, I guess that's correct. And then what? Like Bank of America goes down because some vibe engineer went security and they withdrew all the money. What are you gonna do then? Who are you gonna blame then? Like, there's a lot of risk in it too with security and compliance because it's sending the code to the cloud and getting other code that someone else used. So I feel like there's bigger challenges. Look how slow the banks are at implementing things, right? Like I think when I worked at Visa, they were still using like mainframes from 1960s or something. So even if AI is out there and you think it's going to take your job, by the time like companies actually implement a lot of these tools, it's going to be a while just because of the compliance security issues as well.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. There's just yeah, AI, like, and this is coming from two people who actually use AI. I've met people who are like don't believe in AI and so they never want to use it. They're like, oh, it's gonna hallucinate. But I use AI extensively in
All
my
day.
job. I'm using AI. I use Cursor in order to understand the code base. Because for me, I'm trying to understand what are the pitfalls of these AIs right now. I want to get better at using the AI. Of course, AI is the future, but you need to use AI in order to 10x yourself. I think for sure people will lose their AI will replace people who can't use it. For example, if there's somebody who's operating still at 1x speed because they can't use any AI and all the other engineers are able to use AI and working 10 times faster, that one person is going to get replaced. So you should know how to use these tools for sure. But also, yeah, like people at the end of the day too is when software products aren't always just software products. When there's like issues happening in production, when you need to communicate with vendors, you need to communicate with other problems or other people, or you need to debug something like a support person or the business side, they're gonna be asking you how the code works. If you're just GPTing the code base to figure out how it works and you can't read it for yourself and understand how the system is working, verify that it's working a specific way, you can't really communicate to another person how the system is working. A lot of times, especially when you get to a more senior role, people are coming to you and asking you how the system is working, how does the system behave in this situation? Why did this thing break? Um, like we have a deal that's gonna come in. Like, can you talk to the customer of like how our software works and maybe how like what we need to build in order to support this big deal. These are all things you need to be able to communicate. If all you do is ask GPT and regurgitate what GPT is saying, you'll never be able to understand the code and be able to communicate with real life people. That's kind of like where a lot of the pitfalls are going to be. I think if people are just GPTing stuff, a lot of the times what I've seen is they're just being lazy. They never if you just GPT something and never verify it, you're just being lazy at that point. And I mean, laziness will only get you so far anywhere. Like being lazy is not optimal pretty much in most things in life.
Yeah, I mean, I have Cursor installed, but I mean, I'm using NeoVim for all my coding. And since like right now I'm mostly doing like lead code problems, I just use Grok. But I have some AI tools in NeoVim as well. I think there's also a plugin called Avanti or something like that. There's some plugins that kind of replicate the cursor type of workflow in NeoVim as well. I'm gonna look into that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it is pretty cool that you can save time now with AI, and I just feel like it's a tool that helps engineers get to the good part of coding
Yeah,
versus dealing with
I agree.
like even CS styling, right? Like you can just like versus
Yeah,
I used to do it manually. Now I can just like, hey, can you what is that joke? Standard div or whatever,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
Center div. Yeah. No, I like that. Like it definitely AI get lets you do the fun stuff of the coding, the stuff that they really need humans to do. And if once the AI can do it, can already do certain things, then like there's gonna be other things for you to do as well.
also someone has to program this AI, train it, right? And AI is being trained on the code that's currently being produced by other developers. So who's going to train the AI if there's no developers, right? Who's going to deploy the AI? There's still going to be some kind of mix of like knowing, understanding if AI made a mistake or not. I don't think we can rely 100% on AI, right?
Yeah,
It's like you can delegate, but you still have to verify, even if it was like AGI, right? Because what if it just inserted some code to take over the world like Skynet?
yeah,
You still want a human to make sure that it's not making it some kind of weird thing.
yeah.
So
But yeah, like I don't know. AI is gonna be good because it helps people build software. But what that means, I think, is there's everything's gonna be software now. If you think about it, there's so much things that could benefit from using software, but we don't add software to it because I mean, like it's useless to or it's gonna cost more money to build software for it than to actually like just not have software. So I think software is just gonna continue being used everywhere. Software is already it's already big, but it's in so many places we can add software and improve how things work. So I feel like more things are gonna have software. There's gonna be more demand for software, and as like the code base of the world grows, we're gonna need more software engineers to manage all this code that's gonna be happening. And yeah, maybe AI is going to be generating a lot of the code, maybe in the future, but people are still going to need to understand it and make sure that it's generating things in the right path and still using their problem solving and logical thinking in order to like make everything run. And that's what you learn in a degree. In a degree, you're not learning TypeScript. You're learning how to problem solve. You're learning all the different patterns. You're learning object oriented programming, functional programming. These are patterns. You're not like you might learn Python and Java specifically, but their goal is to teach you how to think in terms of objects and how to design big systems in terms of objects and how to build good abstractions in order to like mimic a real world system. That's not like super specific to Java. You could do that in C++, you could do that in Python, but you need to learn the underlying like skills in order to get to that point.
yeah. And let's do an example where like for example, like a startup I interviewed last week, they're rewriting code from scratch that was written by an outsourced company in India. And those are humans writing code. So now imagine something was generated with AI. How many rewrites is that gonna start getting, right? Because even like I was following someone on Twitch, they were building a product. They're like vibe coder. They rewrote the code base 3 times from scratch. So now if you knew coding, right, I don't think you would be rewriting something from scratch 3 times. It would be a one-time handle, even using Cursor AI. So I think the issue is there's gonna be more people like coding or entering the market, building products, or you know, trying to get jobs, but it's just their skill level. How can you compete with someone that also uses AI Cursor and understands coding? Like I'd rather hire that person,
Yeah.
even if it costs more, because there's more trust.
Yeah. It's a competition at the end of the day. Like you could think that AI is gonna get you anywhere, but then there's also a dude out there who thinks AI is gonna get them far as well, but is also interested enough to learn underlying like really actually grind at the fundamentals and becoming a better coder. That person is gonna outperform you, and there's actually quite a lot of people like that. So I would suggest
Yeah.
do the latter than
Hey,
just
hopefully this
doing.
ages well. Next year's like Skynet, no coding jobs.
Yeah.
This is all our opinion, guys, right? Based on two developers that see what actually is going on versus an Instagram reel, someone that never wrote line of code. It's like, oh, developer codes are are gone, don't major in programming. So
Yeah, a lot of those are like clickbaiting too, and
clickbait, yeah.
like they're just trying to clickbait you or rage bait you or just like gatekeep or there's like lots of different reasons why people would do that. Maybe that's actually their opinion. Everyone has different opinions. I feel like there are some people saying that AI is going to replace everything. Don't learn software engineering. Don't learn how to code. But I mean, I don't subscribe to that advice. I think
Yeah.
it's bad advice.
Horrible. What are you gonna do then if you have passion for coding? Become a plumber? Yeah. They
Yeah.
make good money too, but the reason I think we also all got into software engineering because we can just work on a computer and get paid versus doing like some kind of physical job or something like that, right? So I think being a software developer is the best 9 to 5 job there is, but there's nothing better than having your business that's profitable or your own startup, right? Because you're not working for someone else. But otherwise, if you're gonna have to work for someone else, I don't think there's anything better than coding, to be honest. Because even doctors, right? They get paid a lot, but then, if something happens with the patient, they could be done. Their license is gone. Where we had people in production drop a table during the presentation, you know, given at Apple, and they just get fired. But then they go and work as a security compliance developer at another bank or something.
Yeah.
That's the funny part about it, right? Like, as a developer, there's also like, the worst thing if you're not performing, you'll get fired or let go. Where in some other higher paying jobs, you're also responsible for other people's lives and there's more gatekeeping or like your license is done, then you're done. So I still think this is number one field for a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's see what else. Okay, maybe last question because then I have to hop to a different meeting. What do you do to stay motivated? You seem like a very motivated person. Alex, what do you
What I do to stay
yeah, what do you
motivated.
do? Yeah.
I don't believe in motivation because motivation comes and goes. I
Mm-hmm.
just believe in consistency. Like I'm not motivated to wake up at 3 a.m. I want to sleep in, but I'm like, if I give in, not following this, that means I'm not gonna do like lead code later. I'm not gonna work out later. It's just some momentum, right? You gotta prove every morning to your brain that you're gonna go get after it, right? Like, and if you don't, then it's like a domino effect. You don't do one thing, then it's easier not to do another, right? Because let's say you go to the gym in the morning, it's gonna be harder for you to go and eat a pizza right after. You're like, I just worked out. Why am I gonna eat a pizza? But like, let's say you don't work out, you went to a club, you had some drinks. Now I'm hungry. Pizza is the only place that's open, right? It's not motivation. It's just being in control of your consistency, environment, and willpower.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I agree. It's same thing. Like if you ask somebody who's like quote unquote motivated, they'll never think of themselves as being motivated. I don't think there might be some, but I mean, motivation is a feeling, and you could feel motivated one day, and you could feel not motivated the other day. And if you just rely on motivation to accomplish things, it's gonna be up and down, and you might never accomplish anything. That's why I'm saying you should have some ambition, some purpose. Figure out like a long term thing and focus on the day to day. I don't really feel motivated either to, like, I get up and work every day, and it's not a motivation, it's more of a habit, and it's more of this is I'm working towards a specific goal, and that I just built a routine around that, and I just love being consistent and love getting better at something. And I wouldn't say that motivation is what drives me. I would just say pretty much the day to day of just getting better and working towards my goals and ambitions like fuels my day.
Yeah. I think you got to think about it this way. Anyone can perform when they're motivated, got good rest, and have a perfect day. Anyone can do that. But that's not how life is. That day doesn't matter. It's about how did you perform and what do you do when you got low sleep, when you're not motivated, when you're tired. That's the true self that shows who you are. That's how you got to think about it, right? Because if you got like 8 hours of sleep, oh, I'm motivated to do coding today and lead code. Well, anyone in that state can do that. What's more impressive is like you slept 3 hours last night, you're tired, you hate lead code, but boom, you go sit down and do it anyway. That's how you build that like willpower and momentum. It's not about performing when you're feeling great. It's about performing when you don't want to do that. That's how you got to think about it.
Nice. Okay, Alex, we're gonna
Yeah.
hop on another. That was a fun session. We'll do more of these for
Yeah.
sure. But
If you
now,
guys, yeah, if you guys liked it, tell James. We'll do more calls and
yeah,
collabs and answer more
I'll
questions.
drop
Yeah.
this as a separate video for sure because we're just got into a lot of different topics. But Alex,
Is there a way you can add me as a collab so it's also on my YouTube or
yeah, I can even send you the video if you want me to send you the video.
no?
I'll
But if
send.
you post it, isn't there a way to like tag me
I
so it
can
shows
add
up?
you. I can add you. I can add you in the
Okay.
title. I'll add you. They can click
Yeah.
right into it. But
Yeah.
this is fun.
Something.
We'll definitely do it again, and we'll do another one. We'll get a bunch of questions from people. But Alex is he's always in the streams. He's grinding leak code. He
Yeah.
grinds software. He grinds so much other things in life. He's not just a software engineer. He done other businesses. That's why. I mean, like, yeah. What other stuff do you get up to, by the way?
Well, I like to call myself a social anthropologist. I used to go out a lot and date a lot. So meet a lot of, you know, women. So I have a lot of dating advice. I taught guys social skills. I did sales. I did marketing. I ran my own website agency. I traveled Thailand, Bali, Colombia. I lived in Bali for a bit. Did a lot of different things. So I think social skills is one of the bigger thing that a lot of developers are missing. So if there's questions about that, we can cover as well. But I'm more focused right now just on tech.
Yeah.
I did a lot of content creation as well in terms of like just motivational speaking and proving myself I can publish content, being on camera. Because a lot of developers are scared to talk, get on camera, and be social, and then they want to meet like a wife or girlfriend. Well, if you cannot even talk to a person on camera, how are you gonna go on a date? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. All right, Alex. We'll get good luck on your interviews. We'll let you get back to studying. We'll do a check in soon. Maybe like 15. Like let's do a check in at the end of March because we said you're gonna be locking in on some back to the basics coding patterns. We'll see how that actually goes. Let's do a collab again sometime in a week and a half. How does it sound? Like we could just jump on a call like this on stream.
yeah, please send me the link to
Yeah, I
this as
got you.
well in the Discord. And yeah, thanks for having me. This was actually like super fun, and it's your chat is really cool people following you that kind of on the same journey, either earlier journey or on the same level. So, we all experience different life, and different companies, different places. So it's always helpful to see what other people are looking for and how we can help them, right? Because like I said in the beginning, it's all about delivering value first. So
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
All
Thanks
right,
for having
Alex. All
me. Yeah.
right, I'll catch you, man. All right,
Have a-
see ya.
Bye.
Yo, Alex is a legend. Everyone put W's in the chat for Alex. W's in the chat for Alex. I'm gonna get my other friend Alpha on. W's in the chat for Alex. Let's see, stop recording. Alpha, you ready to hop on? Yeah, Alex is really fun to talk to. We could go for forever. Probably not. Maybe next weekend I'll do mocks. You want to run a mock? Then I'm gonna go hang out with some friends after. Let's see. Got gotta mix it up during the week. Your stream is lagging? Is mine lagging too? Let's see. Let's see. Oh wait. Yeah. Was it lagging the whole time? That's annoying if it was. How is it now? Yo, Fahim, how is it? Yo, chat. Oh, did it close? Let me see. Testing. Okay, it's good now, right? Everyone's good? Okay, it's good now, right? Everyone's good? Okay, I hate when things lag. I'm gonna need to upgrade my Wi-Fi. Okay, let's get Alpha in this chat. Let me send him. Yeah, I'm gonna send you. Gonna get Alpha in this chat. Yo, how's the connection? Alpha, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, perfectly. What's up?
Okay, gonna mute the stream. Yeah, actually using a good mic this time, so hopefully
Nice,
that'll
yeah,
be
sounds
better.
good. How you been, man? Long time no talk. What you
Yeah,
been
I've been pretty good. Working, doing some stuff.
Nice.
So pretty good.
What have you been like learning these days? More lead code, or you just diversifying?
So looking into some more front end stuff. Probably gonna do some more front end problems. Yeah, I actually got I had videos for the front end problems that I did on Great Front End, but then the dude who made it said I actually can't post the ones that are premium. So he was like, "Can you take those down?" So I took those down, and then he was like, "Okay, cool. I can like send you like an affiliate link or whatever as well if you want to like promote our stuff."
That's
So that was kind of
crazy.
interesting. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
He messaged you?
Yeah, he messaged me on LinkedIn about it, so it's pretty funny.
That's wild. That's kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so doing more of that, and then gonna learn some AI stuff soon, so that'll be interesting. I'm doing some like 1 month AI bootcamp thingy. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see on CoderPad if we can do JavaScript projects. I'm gonna invite you.
I feel like there's like a React. There should be like React. Yeah, there's a React thing right there. I don't know. I'm looking from your stream. I think you should be able to.
I'm gonna send it.
Okay.
That's crazy. I never got hit with that yet. The premium stuff.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I was concerned about making the hello interview videos as well. I was like, maybe I shouldn't post those because then I don't want to like have to take a bunch of stuff down if they complain about it. So yeah.
What did he say will happen if you don't take it down?
I mean, he just said like take them down or we will like take action or something. I don't know what that means exactly. I was like, yeah, no problem. I don't really care. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'll be like, message my business account, bro. Like we're like, no one has ever heard of Great Front End until you posted their video. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like it's reasonably. I don't know. It's hard to say how many people use it. I mean, they're
Like,
I feel like it's like the best front end platform. So
like you're giving them free promo.
Yeah, like if I was them, I wouldn't care. But I don't know. I mean, it's whatever. Like I just didn't want to get into a hassle, so I was like,
yeah, fine. I don't even know what's wrong with them. I won't be doing their stuff then. Yo, I sent you the link. Can you join?
Let's see. In email or
give you a CoderPad on Discord.
On Discord. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, take action is crazy. Okay. Let's see. What are we gonna work on? React. Let's see.
Yeah, we could do like a React UI thing.
Okay. Let's go.
I think it's also there's like no content on that, so I think it's kind of cool to do some of that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay.
Running React. Okay. I'm gonna start the video. I have a good question.
Okay, cool.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Let me like close the chat.
Yeah, get locked in.
Locked in. All right.
But life's been good so far. Last couple of days, last little bit. Besides getting threatened.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I've been working on some stuff at work with like. It's funny, like it was pretty easy to make, but it has like really high impact, so that's kind of cool.
Good.
A lot of people using it.
Get that promo.
Yeah, let's see.
All right. Hey everyone. So today I have my friend Alpha again, and today instead of doing coding interviews, system design interviews, I mean this is a form of coding interview. We're gonna do a front end focused interview. So we're gonna be putting him through a React interview. How do you feel about that, Alpha?
I mean, once again, worse at it than LeetCode, you know? Like, yeah, I guess I will share. So I did. So on Interviewing.io, they give you like a free one. Mm. So I just did one just for fun, with algos, and I got some dude from Meta who's like a senior at Meta, and I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. And yeah, he said I got like a perfect score on it, wow. So I was like kind of curious, and yeah, I feel like the question wasn't that hard. It's mostly just a time crunch. Like you got to like talk about what you're gonna do, write the code, and do a dry run in like 25 minutes or something.
What
so
did they
if
ask
I just
you
had the code
in the Interview.io.
Yeah, so they asked me the spiral matrix thing, and I was like, well, since this is a mock, I'll just say I just did this before. Let's do another one. And then they asked me some graph or like matrix traversal thing. So you have like a start and an end and obstacles, and like what's the give me the path that you would take to get to the end, not just like a distance, but like the entire path, something like that.
I see. Okay. So today, what I want you to build is minesweepers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely not familiar with minesweepers, so we're gonna have to.
You're following the stream right here, real quick, right?
Let me pull it up. Actually,
so we're gonna build a minesweepers, and we're gonna do a simple like 20 by 20 board, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. let's do a simple 15 by 15 board. If you have my stream, you kind of click on. So the place is gonna be filled with random mines, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be random mines inside. Let's just walk through one by one. Let's just build a 15 by 15 board with some mines in the different cells.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just first do that.
Start with that. Okay.
Yeah, see, like when you hit a mine.
Okay. So we have 15 by 15 board with mines at random cells, and then what can we do? I guess do we have like no clicking, just literally a board? Like I guess we can click and it'll just say mine or not mine or something.
When you
That's
click,
okay.
okay, there's three cases, right? When you click on a mine and you click on the mine, you lose right away,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And then what's it called? If you click on a cell that is right beside a mine, it will tell you how many mines are beside it. Kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
Shoot. If you click on a mine that's not adjacent to any mines, what it will do is it will pretty much recursively like uncover all of the cells adjacent to it.
So you said if you click on a mine, we lose, right? So how would we? If you click on a mine that's not adjacent to other mines, wouldn't we just lose?
Like if you click, pretend I clicked right here, right? It wasn't adjacent to any mines.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So it uncovered. Unique pointer, what's up? It uncovered all of these other cells, and then, okay, what does one here mean?
There's one mine.
There's one mine adjacent to it, but you don't know which one.
Right? Mm-hmm.
What does this 3 mean?
Okay, there's a delay. So there's 3 mines next to it.
Yeah.
So like in the okay.
You see, we lost. It's 3. It's like 3. And it's like. Wait, let me take a picture of this.
Okay.
You see, like it's saying 3, but it's like not just 4 directional. It's like diagonals.
Yeah.
So basically, what we need to do is figure out the mines, and then also like figure out the numbers on each of the cells at first.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused on how. So if you click something that without mines, like how does it know when to stop recursively clicking on other stuff? I guess. Like you clicked on
basically,
one,
what it's gonna do is it's gonna uncover all of the mine. It'll uncover all of the empty cells up until the ones that don't have mines. So you can see like when we uncovered it, only these ones. Like pretend there was nothing here. It would keep uncovering it. Essentially,
I see.
It'll keep uncovering. Basically, pretty much just uncover all of the cells that don't have anything, and then also their neighbors, as long as.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, kind of makes sense. And then the cell with nothing just has no mines next to it, I guess.
Here, I'll send you the leak code question so you know what it.
Okay. Fine. Yeah, I feel like making the UI part of it and the leak code thing might be a while, but
yeah. See. No, let's work on the UI portion. I think this is. I'm gonna send you this question so you can kind of understand. What is going on here.
Yeah.
Let me drop it. Where should I drop this? Probably at the bottom of the app here.
You put in the README or something, I don't know, or whatever.
Okay, let's drop it in the README.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, we have time. We got like an hour. Let's just see how far we can get. This is a valid question. I've seen this get asked, like implement minesweepers.
In a UI, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess if we want to break this down into parts, do you have a recommendation for like maybe?
Let's work on the UI. I want to focus more on the UI portion of this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is honestly a harder front end question than most.
Right. So I guess we can make a grid. You said a 20 by 20 grid, and then we can place mines. Maybe we can start with something simpler, like instead of that recursive thing, we just click and it'll tell us how many mines. And then like if we click on a mine, we lose, and then we can add the recursive thing. Like I feel like the recursive thing is like the hard part, and then we could have everything other than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Quickly.
Let's do that. See, like I already like your thought process here. When you get a question like this, you need to break it down. It's gonna be complicated. That's a good way. Let's just build the board and be able to click and uncover elements in that board.
All right, so let's just get rid of some of this. And then, okay, app. Probably don't need any of that. And then the main index. Okay, so I guess we want to show something like app. Is it showing? Okay, so cool. So let's just start off building like, and you said we can just hard code like a 20 by 20 board here.
Board, yeah, 20 by 20 board.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's just think about how we want to have like these components. So we can have a board, and then we can have like for the board, we basically want to have two states, I guess, like
Feel
hidden
free to whiteboard
or
here. It opens like Scala Draw if you click there, right? If you want to.
Oh yeah, cool. Out. Okay, so if we have a board, we can just have a short one here. Let's just have a 3x3. So we're gonna have a board. Maybe we want to have like cell, like a cell can be its own component. And then what does a cell need to know? So it needs to know like mine or not, and then that's it. Yeah. And then we can pass down like a function that will uncover mines. So mine or not, and then also, yeah, I guess maybe we can actually calculate this ahead of time. So for every cell, we can calculate like the mines, like pre-compute that, and then pass it down. And then we can also say if it's a mine. So we'll say like mine or not, and then also like number of mines around or whatever. And then the other state it needs to have is like covered or not. So when we click on a mine, we lose. And then when we click on anything else, it'll just like flip to uncovered, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can have like some kind of like is game over or something like that, where like if we click on mine, we just lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like what we can do too is we don't have to worry about like when you click on something that's uncovered to recursively uncover the other ones. Let's just like do one click at a time. If it's a mine, you lose. If it's like a number, it just shows that number. If it's empty, if it has like no mines near it, it just uncovers that one cell. But let's get that UI working.
Yeah, okay. So first, I guess I'm trying to think of like, so we need a 20 by 20 board. Sure. How do we want to build this thing? I feel like we can just make like a 20 by 20 array, and then we can have like a mine or not a mine, and then we can put things into. Yeah, so let's do that. So in the app, let me get out of this React. Okay, so how do I get out of the drawing? Okay, so in the app, what we want to do is we want to make a 20 by 20 board with mines, and I guess we'll just we only want to do that once though. So maybe we'll like put that in a use effect, and then we'll create it. So we'll say like, yeah, I don't know if this is okay. This is TypeScript, I guess. So board set board, and then we can just create it here. So we can have a state. And we want a 20 by 20, so array 20 fill. We can fill it with, I guess, 0 or whatever. And then we can map to another, yeah, we can basically just map this to another array of 20 by 20. So element array 20. And then we can think about what we actually want to like fill. Can I do this? And no, I can't. Okay. So I think I need to just import useState. I don't actually even think I need this. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll leave this React.
Yeah, I think you need to import React.
I don't know why it's string literal. I feel like this is just fine. I don't know why it's giving me the problem. Like spacing or something? Or what am I doing wrong here? I guess let's see what it does. It have an error? Import useState. Something parse. Unexpected token from. Yeah, I feel like this should just work. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Why are we getting an error here? So React refers to global. Yeah, I literally don't know why that is also an error. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just not going to ignore that and then keep going. Because yeah, this stuff is just whatever. Okay, so we make this board. I guess we want to figure out like what we put in this board. So maybe in this board we'll put in zeros and ones. So for a board, we can say 0 is not a mine and then 1 is a mine. Okay. Yeah, I literally have no idea. Okay, so the next thing we want to do here is we basically want to like put in mine. So how many mines should we have in here? Yeah, I guess
10.
that would be a good question.
10.
10? Okay. Okay, so I guess what we can do is, and then does it matter kind of like do we have to have some kind of random can we do something as simple as just for every cell just like 50-50 put it in, and then once we have 10 we're done? Or do we want to have some kind of like pick a random row and column and then keep doing that until we get 10? Does like the algorithm we get this thing matter too much?
Wait, what did you say?
Yeah, in terms of figuring out where the mines are actually at, like putting them randomly, can we literally just make it as simple as just go through the board and like 50-50 put it in? Or maybe like, I guess if there's 400 cells, maybe like 25% chance put it in, and then once you have 10, then just like break? Or do we want to just get a random row and column and keep checking if it's in there?
Yeah,
Until 10.
let's just do a loop that runs 20 times or 10 times. Like we said 10 mines?
Yeah.
Let's just do a loop that runs 10, that creates 10 mines, and it just grabs a random row and column and tries to insert it. If
it's there already, then whatever, we'll have less than 10.
Yeah, that's fine. We can work on that after. I mean, it'll probably be a simple while loop, right? Just
Okay, yeah, sure.
like while the number is created is less than 10, just keep using.
Sure, yeah, that's fine too. Okay, so use effect. So yeah, we'll probably want to use effect here, and then we basically want to do this when the component first mounts, I guess. So we'll have it here, and then we can make the function here. So we can say like mines equals 0, and then like while mines is less than 10, I guess, and then we can worry about like cleanup later. So mines less than 10. Then we'll do this like get a random location. So const row equals math random, and I think you want to multiply by, let's see, so I think you want to multiply by 20 and you want a floor. I think that gives you a random row. Okay, and then do the same thing for the column.
What does math random give? Like, is there any way to just do between 1 to 20 there already? Or
I feel like there's not. I think math random gives you a number from 0 to 1. It gives you a decimal, and then when you multiply by 20, you get something from 0 to 19 point something, and then you just floor that down to get 0 to 19. I don't think there's a way to, like in Python, you can give a range. I don't know if you can give a range in in JavaScript. Maybe there is, and I just don't remember. But
okay,
yeah. Okay, so we'll just check like if this is already in the board. Oh, we also need to actually. So we want to make this update all in once, actually, because if we like update the state, then this will run again, and we don't want to do that. Yeah. Okay. So we want to get all these, and then we want to like update the board, or we can just make a new board. I guess that's also fine. So yeah, so we can say like const new board equals, and then we can just do this guy fill with 0. Okay, and then we can say, oh, we want to do that up here, and then we can say, let's see. So while this is the case, if new board row column is already true, then we want to skip because there's already a mine, so we can continue. Otherwise, we can update it. So new board. Yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of like leak code type stuff in here, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so put in a mine. Can't find. Okay, board. All right, so now we want to make this whole update at once. So I think if we do this, I don't know if it's going to complain that there's a dependency. Okay, it looks like it's not. So this is fine. So we're gonna set the new board. So now this board has mines, so we're good there. So I guess maybe to start, we can just log the board and see if it's working. And yeah, I'm still not sure why this div is complaining. Well, this is a module import. Yeah, I have literally no idea. So, and yeah, I don't know if you have like any thoughts.
For which
React first. So on line 21, there's like a bug. It says for me. I don't know if I have to like refresh it or what. Maybe I'll refresh the coder pad.
Like my whole thing is tweaking right now.
Yeah, React. Can I import React now? Yeah, like not literally nothing is like loading. It just is loading forever. Is that what you're getting to?
Yeah. Let's see. Wait, let's remove this. Maybe it's like doing a crazy re-render.
That's okay. Yeah, it's still not loading. So index CSS, app from app, get root. Yeah, I literally don't know.
Dude, this thing is annoying.
I know, yeah.
Like
So app CSS is nothing, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, there. Not finally loaded for me.
Okay. So what was it?
Or it's being annoying. Akash, what's up?
Okay, it is showing the thing now, so that's good. Okay, and now if we go back to that, does it work or is it? Oh, I see. We actually do have an infinite loop. I didn't notice. Okay, so I guess that's a risky. So we'll go. Okay, now let's try to uncomment. So we had an infinite loop was the problem.
Let's see.
Okay, wait, what? Oh, you commented it, so it's.
No,
I think you have to uncomment it.
Let's see. Did I comment it?
Or actually, okay, let's try this.
Yeah, that will work.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I have to add it in, and then it should hopefully not infinite loop. So I might have to like refresh it. Mines ++, yeah. If new border, okay, it's still saying. I think it's still infinite looping.
Yeah.
Is what's going on. Let me see why. So if row call, if new board, otherwise, yeah, we should be getting. Yeah, this should be fine. We can console log maybe. Wait. Yeah, it's also annoying that you can't like have it not run or something. I am quite confused while this is the case. App. Okay, it's not infinite looping anymore. Okay, I think it's working, but it took like 5 retries to. And so we do see it. I don't know if you see the same thing in the console. So we do have like random locations, and this is all in there now. I don't know. Can you like refresh the app? Yeah, because I'm seeing it on my end. You might have to like refresh the coder pad, but this is definitely.
Yeah, this thing is terrible.
Super annoying. Yeah. So I guess anything that can cause an infinite loop in this platform is pretty bad because it'll just like crash.
I see. To like restart the server. Oh, it's a Vite server.
Yeah.
Nice, perfect.
Okay,
yeah.
so if you look in the console, it'll have everything. Okay, cool. So, yeah. Okay, nice. So we got the board. So one step at a time, I guess. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to figure out how to render everything, and then we also need to. I think probably what we want to do is we want to, for every cell, we want to just like mark down how many neighbors it has. Yeah, and I think we can do that. So because the neighbors is going to depend on the board, we can kind of just make a new one. So
okay.
we can just
I
make
just
a new
have a quick
array.
Question.
Yeah.
Could you quickly just explain what use state and use effect do?
Sure. So state is in React to actually like determine when you want to re-render a component. So things will persist. Like if you change the state of something, the component will re-render, and then everything else doesn't. Like it depends. Like these variables I make in this component won't get saved unless they're in state or like a ref. So basically the way it works is whenever anything in your state changes in a component, that component will re-render along with its children. So and then use effect is just a function that runs, and then you can give it a bunch of different ways of how it runs. So when we get to empty brackets, it means when this component first runs, this function will only run once. If you give it dependencies, this function will run every time a dependency changes. And then if you give it nothing, I think it just runs every time. So if I just get rid of this, it'll just run on every re-render. Second.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so we can get rid of this console log now. So yeah, so
Okay,
I think
wait,
we
one
can
more
do.
question. Why not just do this? Why not just say board equals like this?
Well, first of all, I see. Yeah. So okay. So in that case, if we did this and we never so if we just did that, when if we had any other state that changed, these mines would get put into different spots every time. So if we had any other state in this app that we needed and we called set state on it, then it would just make a new board at every single re-render. And we want to persist our mine locations across re-renders of the component. So we want to put the mines in one place, and then when they're doing stuff, we want to keep them in the same place. Otherwise, when they click on something and we change the state, it would just put mines in like a whole nother place, and it wouldn't make any sense, right? Like you click on something, it tells you there's 8 mines, and then it re-renders, and the mines are all over the place again. So
okay, sounds good. All right, yeah, continue. What are you doing now? Like actually displaying it?
So the next thing I want to do is actually I want to make a new array here that's going to tell us how many neighboring mines it has. And then that's going to make it really easy to show everything we need. And this array is going to be based on the mine, so we don't need it in state. So every time the mines update, we can just make a new array of... if this was like some big costly operation, we can also keep it in state, but I don't think we do for this. So essentially, we're going to make a copy of the board, and we're just going to calculate how many mines are in adjacent cells. So we're going to say like neighbor mine count or mine neighbor count or something. We'll call this like simple mine count maybe. And then we'll make a new array. We'll map it all with 0 again. And now what we want to do is we want to go through every single cell. We want to check all of its neighbors and then add up the count and then put it in here.
Sure.
So yeah, so let's do that. So we can say like we can just make like a nested for loop here. Yeah. And we can, so this function doesn't use state at all. So we can technically write it outside of the app and put it in like another file. If this was like a real thing, like we just have some like calculate whatever in some other file. So this component wouldn't be so messy, but we'll put it in here for now. So we'll just say like we'll let r equals 0 here. R is less than 20. And then also, if you didn't want to make this 20 by 20, we can pass props down into here, and then instead of like hard coding 20, we can use something else.
Sure.
But for now, we'll just do this. So for
let's just hard code it outside here then, just so.
Yeah, we can do that. So we can go like dimension or something, or we can do like rows equals 20. Yeah, so we can do this, and then we can just pass that in. So. Yeah, so rows is going to be that, and then I think it's like this. I mean, it's not going to matter in this case, but so yeah, rows, columns, or in fact, we'll just make it simpler by just going n, so it'll always be n by n. Okay, yeah, that'll be simpler. So go this, 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 that. Okay, and then that way, yeah, we can just modify the variable outside.
Right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Down here.
Cool. So yeah, so we'll have this, and then the columns is less than n as well. And so yeah, we basically just want to count here how many neighboring cells it has. So we probably need another loop, but this will only loop through like 9 places. So we'll say like let count equals 0, and then we can have another loop of like I equals, so we can only go back 1, forward 1, or yeah, basically. So I is -1, I is less than or equal to 1, I is plus, and then the same thing for j. So it's kind of messy, but this will work. J is less than or equal to 1, j is plus. Okay, And then we can say like if I equals j, we'll continue because you're just checking the same cell. So if I equals j, or we have to do that add bounds conditions here as well. So if I is less than 0, or I is equals n, or j is less than 0, or j equals n. Okay, we'll continue. And then so otherwise, we actually want to add this to the count. So we'll say count plus equals, and then our board is what we have, right? So board of ij. Okay, and that what that will do is we can say this. So this will give us a count of neighbor mines for the cell. Okay, and then we can just put it into the cell. So we can say mine count of row column equals count. Okay, so now ideally, if this works, we should have our board, and then we should have our board of mines. So now we can think about displaying things, and it's going to be super easy, because all we have to do is pass these props down into so we're going to have a cell, and the cell is going to have a mine or not, and then count of neighbor mines, and then we also need to pass down a state of like clicked or not clicked as well. Yeah, because we need to know like is it clicked or is it not clicked.
Yeah.
So
let's just get the board showing without like unclicked.
Without unclicked. Okay, cool.
Like, yeah, so let's get the board clicked for now, just to see that it's generating properly.
Okay, yeah, cool. So we can make another component in here called like cell or something, and this will just be yeah. So it'll take in.
Is there any issues that we can have here when it comes to like here from line 20 to 35? Like any optimizations we can do here?
Yes. So we can, I think we can probably have like a use memo here, because we don't need it to re-render this guy unless the board changes. Right. So if the board didn't change, we don't need to update it.
Why like use memo instead of just like in the use effect?
In the use effect. So if we put it in the use effect, then like we need access to this variable. If we put in the use effect, we won't have access to it, I think. I mean, unless we make it up here, we could do that too. Well, actually, no, I don't think we can. Yeah, so we need to either put it in state and then update it in the use effect, or we need to or we can do it like this and use a use memo. I think either one's fine.
Because you usually use memo as something like you want to create, like you're creating an object or you're creating some like data structure that you want to cache, right, and then use it again. Like this is not really creating a data structure; it's more just populating your state.
Yeah. So we can put it in state, I guess, as well. That would be the alternative. If we just set it in the use effect, then it's just like a local variable. So I don't think. I mean, that would be kind of weird. Or sorry, what was that?
Mine count. Let's see.
Yeah, like if we just put it in the use effect, I mean, maybe there will be some like closure type stuff, but I think this is not like the best practice to do it like that. So yeah, I think I would probably put it in state if you want it to like not update every time, and then you can set it in the use effect along with set board. So you can set a set board and set mine count. That would work as well. Okay. So we can just do basically like this.
Well, so you want to keep the board and the mine separate, like two boards, like one where the boards, like one for the board and one where the a different.
Yeah, I mean, we could have an array. We could have an array of like tuples or something, but it's already like a 2D array, so we'd need like a 2D array of tuples, which is just going to get messy. So maybe we'll just make a new one here.
I see. Okay.
So we'll go set mine count, and then so this will also work, and then we can just say like, so we move this all up into here, and then we need to so we need to use this set mine count. So we'll say, so this wouldn't be mine count, this would be like temp mine count or something, and then you would say this, and this wouldn't be board, this would be new board, because that's the one we need to be using. So it'd be something like this, and then you would set the board. So you can set the board down here, and you can set the other one, set mine count to temp mine count.
Sure.
And then these would just, yeah. I also know, I don't think they're like a formatting thing, which is kind of annoying because I use that all the time for front end.
Yeah, just like tab it in.
Okay, so essentially, yeah. So this use effect works now, and we have the board and the mine count. And now all we're gonna do is just populate this cell, right? So this cell is gonna take a mine or not.
Would you be able to add that to a different file? Just like that cell, just to make it easier.
Oh yeah, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. So can you make new files in this?
Yeah, I just created same way as regular, and then just import it.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, so we'll say, does this work? Nope. No, it doesn't work. Dang, that sucks. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll make a new one. So function cell. And yeah, I don't know if I have to give like cell props or something in TypeScript. I mean, we can do that. So we can export default cell. Definitely takes some time to get used to this like coder pad.
Yeah.
Return nothing. I don't know if it's like white. Do I have to save it? It says auto saves, but
Maybe
it's not.
It's not importing React.
Oh, I see. You have to import it. Okay.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's still all white, which is really weird.
That's annoying. Let me refresh.
I have no idea why. Expected CSS.
Oh no, it's working for me now. When you fix it, import.
Okay, yeah. I guess it just has like slow reload or something.
Yeah.
It's definitely frustrating. Wait.
Yeah. Well,
The
now
whole
it's
cell is
deleted.
gone now for me. Like when I click on it, it just says
Okay.
import.
Try it now. Try it. Yeah. Go from it now. Let's see.
Okay, I'm refreshing it.
Or you're not gonna get it back, so just add it back in again.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we'll import React from. Oh, I don't think we even need to import React, right? It's not importing in the app.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think we need. I think we just need function. Okay, it is at least like the right color now. Okay. So we'll return like this for now. Yeah, I think I need to like fix my coder pad settings or something later. Okay. Default cell. Okay. So it's gonna take a isMine field, and it's gonna take a count neighbor mines or something. Neighbor mines. Okay. And so all we want to return here is basically just like maybe a div, and then class name cell, and then yeah. So this will just have, I guess, what do we want to show? I don't think we need to show anything, or I guess we want to show if it's a mine or not. So maybe we'll just like have an M for mine and nothing for like. Yeah, I guess if we always wanted to show what should we display for not mine, that would be kind of weird, right?
Like just 0 or something.
Okay, sure. So we'll say yeah, I guess we'll just write something in here. So we'll say like okay, yeah, I guess 0 would work as well. So we'll go like isMine. We'll just show like mine or something. Otherwise, we'll show 0. And then we'll also show the neighbor count if we're just showing it right away. So count neighbor mines. Okay, whatever. Something like this. And we don't have the clickable functionality yet, but we just want to see if it works.
Yep.
So then what we need to do is in this app, we can call this like container. And then, so what we want to do is we want to map through the rows, and then we want to map through the columns, and then we want to display this whole big thing. Okay, so of the board. Yeah, so board map row, and then like an index. Okay. And then so we need to map through the row as well. So we can call this like index R or I or something. And then column, or yeah, I guess we need to do a row map here. So yeah, let me think. Yeah, I think this needs to be like row map, column, or like cell or something. Index, I guess column would be fine too. Okay, and then that is going to give us our cells. So we need to basically show these guys. Yeah, I think so. And then we need to make a grid. Yeah, so well, whatever. Let's see what this looks like for now. So we'll say cell. And we need to import cell. So let's see. Import cell. Okay.
Nice.
And so the cell has a is mine and count neighbor mine. So is mine will be let's see. I think this is just board ij. And then count neighbor mines or whatever this guy is. Count neighbor mines. Neighbor mines. Oh, no, just kidding. This needs to be out here. Okay, and then this is just going to be called mine count. Okay, and then ij as well. And then I think we need to give it a key. So key can be a string of like ij, and that'll be unique, I guess. Whatever, something like that. Okay, let's see what we have so far. So it says unexpected token at this line. Yeah, I'm not seeing any. Let me refresh it. You're seeing unexpected token as well, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Okay. Oh, okay, now there's like some red stuff. Okay, this cell disappeared again. Wait, never mind.
Can you? Is this proper syntax, or you have to do like a?
I think it might not be proper syntax. Row map. Yeah, I think that's actually correct. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things I do really badly is I do these long maps and then I have a hard time figuring out where my error was actually. Yeah. The other thing we can actually do, so I think for this row, we actually need to make we probably need to make a div, to be honest, to have the row. I feel like.
Yeah.
So we need to have a div, and then the div needs to have the key. So this can be like I. And now we need to have this in here for sure. So then, let's see. So this is a row map. Okay, and now the row is that part should be fine, and then the cell key can just be this.
Yeah, if we move this, we can probably get it back to your old syntax. So it's mapping the board for div. It's returning a div. It's mapping the specific cells in that div.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's complaining about something else. Unexpected token, like it just has an extra opening.
48 here. It's complaining about the div, apparently. Let's see. The cell's closed. This row is fine. Yeah, I guess you can also just put into GPT and say like what parenthesis did I forget or something, just for the sake of this thing. I definitely need to. I noticed that during like some front end stuff I did, like I definitely need to figure out a way to write these things in a cleaner way without just throwing it to GPT, because it usually ends up being. I usually end up having these problems where I make these overcomplicated maps.
Okay, let's look at what you did different then.
Okay, cool, yeah. So this bottom one is what I did different? Or which one is the GPT one?
This is the GPT. This is the right one.
Okay, so div class container. So we have that. Board map. Oh, I don't have, or I didn't have this. Yeah, I didn't have that. Div key, that's all the same. That's all the same. Cell count is mine. Board, that's all the same.
To me, it looked exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just like one parenthesis off, and then
okay.
That's also why. Yeah, I noticed in CoderPad, it's kind of a pain.
This. There you go.
Is it working now?
I don't know. Let's just copy the GPT one. I think I know what you're doing there, but
Yeah. Also, I feel like in VS Code, it's easier to see the errors because for me, it doesn't show like red or it doesn't update or something, and I had a lot of issues in CoderPad with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, it's showing something now. Cool. Yep. Okay, so it says it's all 0 also for some reason. Yeah, like the whole thing is just 0. So it shows the same thing for you too, right? So
Yep.
Okay, so let's figure out why that is. So is mine okay? And then the count neighbor. So it's literally not populating this at all. Looks like, yeah. So let's go back to my app and let's see like what am I doing wrong. It's probably in this like use effect or something like that. So set board, new temp mine count, fill 0, temp mine count. Okay, I think what I need to do is I probably need to log these guys. So I need to log the temp mine count and the new board. Yeah, so let's do that. New board. Okay. All right, and then I can refresh.
I mean, yeah. There's some of them are RM though, but yeah.
Some of them are M.
Yeah,
okay.
I saw some M's.
But the neighbors are all wrong.
I think it's the way we're doing it here. If M. Why is there a 0 here? If it's mine, should it just do? Should this be like a is mine or count neighbors? Like this.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, I could do it that way, but I wanted to kind of show unnecessary info so I could make sure it's all correct.
Okay.
So let me just check here. So if I is 0 or this, yeah, if I is J or I is less than 0. Oh, I can be less than 0. That's actually fine. Oh, I see. Okay, so I had way too many. Yeah. So this is just wrong, actually. Yeah, that's why it's not working. Okay, so this part is basically wrong. So if this, then continue, and then we actually need to do not IJ, but we need to actually get the new. Okay, I see the problem. So we need to say like the new place is what it is. So we can say like let new row or const new row equals basically r plus I. And then the const new column is C plus J. Okay, and now we need to copy some of this, and we need to say, get rid of that. Okay, so new row, new column. Yeah, so I see the problem. The problem is it's just never populated. Okay, now ideally it does, but this is kind of a mess, so definitely you can improve a lot there. So, and we need to get rid of this. So, yeah, so if it's the same cell, it's fine. If it's a different cell, we need to make sure we're not out of bounds. And now I feel like, actually, where does this need to go is the other question. Yeah, that's a good point. So this is also new board. Okay, I see. This is fine, I think. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so do we have any other bugs? Where it's not, is it populating for you or is it bugging? Oh, it's bugging, I think. Let me reload this guy.
I mean, let me see. Why not just generate the neighbor? Like I starts at -1. It always starts at -1, right? But shouldn't that be relative to the row?
Yeah, that's why it's relative to the row, yeah.
Oh, this is what this is doing here? I equals...
Yeah. So I'm adding I to, so I'm adding down here.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it just goes to -1 from -1 to 1. And if it's the same, that means, or actually, this okay, there's too many bugs. So if I equals 0 and J equals 0, that means it's the same cell. Okay, there we go. But it's still giving me a bug in the program output for some reason. So let's see what it is. Yeah, this the CoderPad React thing is definitely very bad, I think. Let's see. Console log, what is the error? Missing semicolon. Wait, what? Gives you missing semicolon error? Are you serious? I mean, that's pretty annoying. Crazy to me.
Yeah. Like go into TS config and let's change it.
TS config. I don't think it's in. Is it in there? Allow.js, check.js, skip. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it should somewhere specify the strictness.
I feel like that's like an ESLint thing
whatever.
or something, right?
Like, it shouldn't crash on that.
Or it might be in the V. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, what's breaking?
Whatever.
Whatever. It tells you the exact line though. 41. Let's go to 41.
So it says, let me find it. At console log. I mean, I can also just get rid of this console log. I don't need it. Does that fix it? Yes. Okay, I think we're getting stuff now.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this board is really big. So let's try to make the board smaller and then see if we get... So right now we're only getting like one neighbor. So let's just, for debugging purposes, let's make this like 5x5. And then see if we get more than one neighbor. Yeah, I think it's good now. Yeah. I think it's working. Because if we made the board 5x5, you see like a lot of things have a lot of neighbors. So I think we're good. And it also makes sense that when we only have 10 mines in this is a 400 cell board, like we're not gonna have a lot of neighbors. So maybe we can add more mines.
10 by 10 to keep it 10 by 10
okay.
Just keep it 100 and more dense.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So now some cells have like one mine, some cells have like 3 or 4. Okay, awesome. So now we need to figure out how to actually display this correctly, which I think we got through the hard part. So we need to add a CSS file for the cell. Okay, and then we need to import it into the cell. So let's do that. So import cell.css. Is that working? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so let's think about how this thing needs to be made. So I think in this div, let's see. Yeah, in this div, actually, like this class name needs to be a row, and then we need to make the row, I think, like display flex or something is what the problem is. And then, yeah, every single row in here should be going left to right. And let's see if that fixes it. So we can go, I don't know why this is the way it is. So we'll go row, and then we'll just say like display flex, flex direction row. Okay, cool. So we have it correctly. Now we just need to make these cells like working the way they should be. And then we can add styling a little bit here. So we can say cell. So we can give it a border and stuff. So let's see. Yeah, so we can make it what's called border 1 pixel solid black. Okay, it's not exactly lined up correctly, but it is at least like whatever. Yeah, I think I'm not going to focus too much on styling.
If we make the size big enough, like would it
of the what? Sorry.
Like if we make the size of the cells big enough, it should just like.
Oh, it should just line up. Yeah. I see. Yeah. I see. We can make the dimensions the same. Yeah. So we can go like height is like 30 pixels or whatever big enough is, and then width, and then it'll just like be fine.
Yeah, I think so. Like make it even.
Okay, there is some stuff out of it still. Yeah. Okay, it is working. Maybe let's make this thing smaller just so we could see it easier. So instead of 10, we'll make it 5x5. Okay, and then we can always make it bigger later, but just for debugging, let's do this. Okay, so this seems to be fine now. So it tells us if it's a mine, if it's not a mine. Quickly looking at this, so we should have 10 mines. So 3, 7, that's all good. And then is every cell calculating the number of mines correctly? I think so.
Let's see, let's go like this.
Oh, mine or the neighbors? Okay, awesome.
So we have mine, this says 2, this says 2, this says 3. I mean, yeah.
Then we can go like text align.
It's looking good. Yeah, let's align those in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Doing that now.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like just debugging in VS Code is just way faster than in here because you have to wait like 20 years for a refresh. Okay. All right, so we got that. So yeah, I guess the next part to add would just be to have it hidden by default.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do that. Have it hidden. and then like start clicking on the different cells
Mm-hmm.
and uncovering them.
All right, so we want to think like we can get rid of this now. So the component itself can start off as hidden, right? And then every time we re-render a table, I'm trying to think, yeah, every time we render a table, all the components should refresh. All right, so I think the hidden and not hidden should be in the cell itself. That should be, yeah, I think that should be in the cell. So we can say like const hidden or is hidden. Set is hidden. Can be in the cell itself. And then we'll make it true to start off. And we can import up here. Yeah, I definitely feel like I use a lot of features for front end that aren't available here, like auto imports or like save and insert semicolons and all these things that save you like a ton of time. Okay, it's giving me the same. Oh, I have it twice somehow. Okay, cool. So if it's hidden, what do we want to do? If it's hidden, I guess we show nothing. Otherwise, so I guess we never have to show the mine because if it's a mine, they just lose, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so we want to change the way we do this. So we want to go is hidden. If yes, then we show nothing. If no, then we show count neighbor mines, I guess. Okay. And now we want to give this like an on click where we can on click. So then we can just say so if is hidden, yeah, I guess if it's already hidden or if it's not hidden, I guess. So not is hidden. Then we can just do nothing. Or I guess we can do, yeah, so we can just do this way. So if it's hidden, we want to do something here. So set is hidden false. Otherwise, we want to do nothing. So I think I can just do it this way. Okay, nice. So we got stuff. So now the problem though is now we just show the neighbors, but we actually want to make this a little bit more complicated. So what we want to do, I think, in the app is we want to have like a game over state, and if it's game over, then do we want to even show the board or what? Or maybe we can have like a retry button or something and not show the grid.
What's happening here? Is there no more mines?
No, so yeah, so that's what I was saying. So the problem that's going on is it's only showing the count of the neighbors. We need to actually end the game when they click on a mine.
Let's just add a game over at the very bottom. Like not it doesn't need to be in a layover. But like just add like a,
we'll just add at the very bottom of the app.
Yeah, like if this was like a
okay, cool.
fragment or something.
Yeah. So we need to check this. So like is game over, and a set is game over. All right. And we'll say you state false. Okay. So if game over, yeah. So we can definitely do that. So we can go.
There you go.
Is game over and that guy. Right. So it's not going to show, but then when they do stuff, it'll show.
And they shouldn't be able to keep clicking.
Mm-hmm.
If the game is over.
Well, we can let them keep clicking. We can just not let it do anything, right? I guess like.
Yeah.
So we can handle that in the. So we need to pass the is game over state to the cell. Yeah. So we need to pass the setter to the cell because once you click on a cell, that's gonna do some stuff. So we need to pass two more things. So I guess we can pass like is game over. And this will be is game over. And we need to pass the setter function. Wait, what did I do? Okay. All right, so we need to pass the setter function. So set game over. All right, I think we're good there. Now we need to get those in the cell. So, okay. So now we just need to make this more complicated. So because it's more complicated, we can just write the function in here instead. So const, we can just call this like on click or handle click or something. And yeah, so we don't need to take an event here. It'll just be a function like this. And then here we can just call that handle click to make it easier. So we'll just say handle click. Okay, so if it's game over, we just do nothing and return true, or we just return. Otherwise, if it's a mine, we want to set is game over to true and return. And then the last case is if it's not clicked on, right? So if it's, yeah, I'm trying to think if it's a mine, it will always be hidden, so we don't have to check for that. Yeah, I think we're good there. So the last case is basically check if it's hidden or not. So if it's hidden, then we unhide it. So set is hidden false. And then I think that's it. Well, let's give that a go. And let's see what errors we got. Okay, so handle click. Looks like it's some error in this function. Oh, function. Okay, let's see if it works. Restart. Let me restart the coder pad. It's loading something. Is there a console error? Set is game over is not defined. Okay, let's see. I pass it down. So, I do set game over. So yeah, I guess I can do set is game over, and then set, I guess is that how I do it? Set is, yeah. I don't know for you, but like for me, it also doesn't show the errors in the actual. Like it only shows it in the console. It doesn't like red things when things aren't there, which is also really annoying. Because that's like also a huge developer tool that like everyone uses. Okay. So set is game over.
So there's a small bug when I click on a mine, but it should uncover that mine still.
Ah, yeah, okay. So let's do that. So it was mine. Let's uncover the mine as well. Yeah, I was gonna say like for the mine, what should we do? I guess we're only showing the neighbors, so we want to have a little bit more logic there. But yeah, let's uncover the mine. So we can say a set is hidden false. Okay, and now we can do what you said basically. So if it's hidden, do nothing. Otherwise, we need to check for is mine. And if it's mine, then we'll show like M or something. Otherwise, okay, I think this is good. Let's see if it actually loads. All right, so we click, nothing. Okay, looks like it's working. If it works for you correctly.
Yeah, see. One. Game over.
Yeah.
Game over again.
Yeah, so anytime we click on a mine, it just game overs. I mean, we can try a bigger grid as well, but yeah, I think it's correct.
I keep hitting them. Let's reduce the number of mines. Let's just put like 2 mines. Let's see.
Okay. Good idea. Yeah, I guess that's also the nice thing about putting these variables at the top, because we could really quickly change this. So yeah, maybe actually we want to have this up here as well. So we'll go 2, and then we can go. We can get rid of this, and then we can say this. Okay, so that's 2. Unless I missed something. Let's see. Mine is not defined. Yeah. Oh yeah, so I just still need that. So let mines. Okay. All right, let's give that a go. Well, I got the mine of the second one. Unlucky. Yeah, I guess also with 2 mines, the problem is like nothing's gonna have a mine neighbor, but it looks like it's working. Yeah, so I have a mine, and then yeah.
Nice, looking real good.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could easily win, right? One. Let me try to win.
Oh, so we have to check for the win. So if we don't, if we never hit a mine.
Yeah. Let's get the win state. We don't have to worry about like the recursive part. I mean, this is just a front end interview. We want to implement DFS. So let's just get that last part working. We could stop it here.
Okay, so
yeah, this is good though. Like, yeah, it's working.
Yeah, I feel like the main thing is if I was doing this in my terminal, I would just save like 20 minutes or 30, because I would it's way faster to see the errors and all these things. Okay, so you're saying if you don't click on a mine, let's just say like a U1 or something like that.
Like if you click on everything but the mine you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. So
wait, weird. Suddenly just lost. Oh, I think when you update, I lose.
yeah. I'm like updating stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess the way to handle that is we want to actually have another state probably of like how many mines we clicked on, and um if we clicked on the right amount of mines, like the game over will be fine. That actually we need to set as game over. Yeah. So if we clicked on like n by n mines, um, and the thing updated, then we need to say is game over, and then we also need to say is winner essentially. So we can do that as well. So we got another state. So did win or like one set one, and then we'll have this false. We can probably clean up state here in some better way. Yeah, like we can do this in a like we can't only just have cells. We can't only just have a state of like how many cells we clicked on, I guess, and that would be fine. And then we can just do some logic. So we can say like cells clicked on or cells clicked and a set cells clicked. Okay, and this will be 0. So what we want to do is we want to say if this is n by n, then you won. And we also need to pass this down into the cell. So we need to say like click cell equals this. Okay, and then we need to add that in as well. So click cell into the cell and click cell. Okay, so if it's game over, we do nothing. If it's mine, we lose, so we don't really care. Okay, this is the other one. So if it's hidden, we want to set hidden false, and we want to click cell, and then we can just take the previous value and add 1. We can do it in this format. And then now we just need to check in the app if we clicked on yeah, and I guess we need to check if we clicked on the right thing, and we can set an is game over then. Yeah, so we can just do that anywhere outside. Yeah, so we can say here, I guess, like if the cells clicked equals n by n, then set is game over to true in here. And then we can just have that check and have some stuff here. So is game over, and then we can have another thing here. So we can have like let's see, self click, set game over to true, and we can say yeah, this guy, copy it again in here. So if this is yeah, basically we want to check for this state here. So if this is true, then we want to show a p tag with u1 or something. Could definitely find some simpler ways to do this, but
M times n. If you clicked all of them, should it be like n times?
Oh yeah, yeah. It should be n times n minus mines. Yeah, you're right. Minus mines. Yeah, minus mines. And then we can do that. Where else did we do that? In the cell. No, we don't really care. Yeah, we just need to do that as well here. And then, yeah, something like that. Or mines. Okay. Let's see. It looks like we got some error. The cells clicked on, and another. Wait, where did this come from? Cells clicked on. Minus mines. Oh, this needs to be like this.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is yeah. I definitely need to stop doing these like super complicated, or not super complicated, but just these nested like maps and whatever's, because then when there's a bug, it becomes hard to find. Okay, let's take a look. So I guess we can test this really easily by doing no mines if this board is even working, if we don't have any other errors. Let's see. So we have an error. All right, is it loading?
No, it's like it's an issue with the syntax again.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems like I run into that a lot. Well, we can. There's like an easier way to write all this stuff for sure. Okay, so is game over and so let's click mines.
I feel like it shouldn't be like it should be just like this.
I think you need to have like, yeah, I think maybe
when you start
have
nesting them, it trips out. I think.
If you try nesting them.
Or how does it look now? Wait, let's see. There's like, oh, there you go, there you go.
Oh, it's
that should work.
Working, I guess.
Yeah. Like when you nest the curly brackets inside.
Oh, I see.
Like
well, I should be able to still do this, right? Like I should be able to put this.
Yeah.
Kinda.
But then you had like it in curly brackets. Yeah. Like,
I see. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not too many. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Is it okay? So maybe let's test no mines and then see if we get a win. So let's try that. So added no mines. Let's refresh and see if we can get a win. Oh, the board disappeared. What? Did the same thing happen for you?
Yeah.
That's weird. How can that possibly happen to me? I have no idea. Too many re-renders. What? Oh, we have an infinite loop, I guess. Okay, so let's figure out why that is. Okay, I see. So we're just setting. So we're just setting it over and over here. So we can check for that. I assume so. It makes sense now. So basically, what was going on is whenever we won, it would just mass spam the "it's game over." Okay, let's try it again. Let's refresh. Actually, I think nice. That would yeah, I think that would work, right? Unless I screwed up the logic there. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I feel like with this problem, like asking the recursive one and the UI seems like a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, maybe in a terminal, but especially in here when it takes a while to debug. Like, I feel like this was already kind of took way too long. So,
yeah, it's a lot, but.
Okay, cool.
Like a lot of the times, what I've actually seen is there already be some boilerplate, but I didn't have time to set that up. So
yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Where like, and I did see that where like if you already have functions to do a bunch, then you can kind of ask these things. But all from scratch seems like takes a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Let me try playing it. Real quick.
Okay.
See if I can win. 1-0-0. Oh.
Yeah, like I know I did like Wordle on my like VS Code, but I feel like in here it would take twice as long because the errors are just super annoying.
Okay, the 1 is definitely here.
How many mines are in here? It looks like 5. Okay.
1 is definitely here. Oh, 3. Oh, 5 mines? Okay. This is fun.
5, yeah. Okay, well now you got
this is definitely a 1 right there. There's definitely 1. No, I think
in between all those? Yeah, it's gotta be, right?
There's gotta be. Because if this is 1, it would have been 2. Okay, this is 2. Okay, if there's a 1 here. If there's a 2 here. Wait, let me think.
So if you think there's a mine...
Okay, no, this one's good for sure. Okay. If this one's 0, this one's 0 as well. Let's see.
Nice.
If this one's a 1...
So if that's 0, there can't be a mine there, right? So that has to be a mine.
This has to be a mine, right?
Yeah, those two both have to be a mine. Yeah.
Damn, okay. But there's 1 right here. This has to be a mine right here. Or it could be right here.
I think your chat's covering up like some of it, so I can't see the whole thing.
Cool. This is actually fun. Okay, what should we hit next?
Yeah, so definitely those 2 are mines, and then I guess one of the... Oh, so I think that one can't be a mine.
This one can't be a mine because it's right here, right?
Yeah. So,
or this one can't be a... this one can't
sorry,
be a
mine. I have a delay
either.
too. I have a delay. So 1-1 can't be a mine. Like location 1-1 can't be a mine.
Yeah, because the mine's right here. This one
no,
can't be...
I think actually none of those two can be a mine. So yeah, both of those are good.
This is definitely a mine right here then.
No, the one to the right's a mine, right?
Where?
The one in the middle of the box is a mine.
Yeah,
So the
this is a
one,
mine.
yeah, I can't. So the one to the left of that can't be a mine because there's a one there, right? So that can't be a mine, and then
This one can't be a mine, too.
yeah.
Because
So the one to the left.
this would be
Yeah.
two.
So sorry. I guess I'll just give you the row and column. So row 2, column 1 can't be a mine,
Yeah.
and then
Okay, these are all mines then. Oh no, one.
row 3, column 1 can't be a mine either.
Yeah,
Because
this one, right?
yeah, I think the one to the left of the 3 can't be a mine, and then those 3 are.
Yeah, this one can't be a mine because it's this one. Two.
Okay, so I think you found most of them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I uncover one more, I win.
Okay, I guess we'll find out if that part works.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
So yeah, I think the one right next to the left of the 3 can't be a mine.
Why?
Yeah, that one. I think because there's a one that's next to the other one, and so there's going to be one there. So yeah, I think that one's the last one.
Wait. See which one? Wait. There's one here.
So you see the one at 2,
this
2.
would have been. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's get
Did
it.
you win? Okay.
Yeah, that was actually fun.
okay.
Cool.
That's pretty funny.
All right. How do you think you did on the interview?
I definitely feel like like a lot of it is me writing things that are just like way too messy that I can clean up. So I think a lot of it is just like code quality. But I am pretty happy that I got it working because I was kind of like, yeah, I was like, there's probably no way I can write the recursive thing and have it all working and figure out what state I need to transfer. But yeah, I think the main thing is just code quality and code cleanup. Maybe there's some more reusability that I can use. And yeah, try not to do these like array fill, map things because then it becomes messy. Also, doing the neighbors there's probably a cleaner way there too. Because like if you look at it, it's kind of confusing what the hell's going on.
Yeah. One thing I've seen people do is when they create the mines, or one thing that I was thinking is like the board, like I wouldn't separate the board and the mine because the mine count is part of the board. The way I think about it, like you have the board where there's the mines, and then the other cells would be like the number of mines in those cells. Like the board state should just be one state instead of managing like two arrays.
So you mean just have like a is mine or not, and then neighbor in the cell, or have like an object or something in there?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is like we have the board state, and maybe then we have like a set of like is hidden or not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we can also just have an object of like is mine and num mine, like num neighbors or something, and then this can be in the cell, right? Like this can be in every cell. That would work too.
Yeah, like let's see, you could
or just a tuple of two variable or two integers would be fine.
Or just be like a bunch of like the board would just be m's, zeros, zeros, ones, two. That way we could just like.
Oh, I see I get what you're saying. So you're saying if it is a mine, I don't really care about the neighbors. So I see. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah.
Like it'd be like it could be like mine and like what, like that way it's easier to reason about the board, like instead of having
this makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Then we could just uncover, like it would be like this.
Yeah, then yeah, I wouldn't have to do that. Like, is it a mine or not? Or this makes I can just uncover. Yeah, this would be a lot simpler. Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good point. And I'd reduce state as well.
And then like I think with generating the neighbors, yours is fine too. What I've seen people do is like if it's a mine, then they just loop through the neighbors and like add one to it, kind of thing. It's like then add.
Yeah, that's fine too. I think in this way it would be a little weird because you don't want to add one. Well, I guess you could loop through the neighbors and add one, and then if you're putting a mine in one of the numbers you have, like whatever, you just override it. Yeah, I think that works. Yeah, I think putting like setting the neighbors when you're putting the mine. Also, obviously for efficiency, that'll be better because if you have 10 mines in a huge grid, like that's pretty fast. You don't want to loop through the whole grid unnecessarily. So yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like if it's very sparse, right? Pretend it's sparse and I only have to add five.
Right. Then you would just loop through the neighbors. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yep. And then is hidden, make a stat. Makes sense too.
Yeah, like the main reason for this would be like the state of the board. Like the board should just be its own state. It's like you should be able to like look at the board. Like hidden could be just like an extra thing to just like hide if you could see it or not. But this is like I think it would be a little cleaner that way. But there's multiple ways to do it. Your way works as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else? What other notes do I have? I think at one point you had the mines outside, like you're generating the mine count outside of the use effect, which means it would run every single time. So it just
yeah, for sure.
Unnecessary work on each re-render kind of thing.
Yeah. And especially if the board was big, that would be pretty costly. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, no, it's pretty good. Like definitely with like the one thing I noticed, with the syntax was you tried to like row map a couple times when it was or like using these internally too much. Like you could only use these in the context of you're inside a div or you're inside of a component.
Yeah. I need to think about it more because this was like a little bit. I do feel like though, like I said, if this was in VS Code, it would be a lot easier because it's really fast. Like I don't have to reload and wait for like 20 seconds. That saves me a lot of time, and it also shows you the right errors and stuff.
Like if this wouldn't work because it's not like these ones are in the context of this one.
Kind of like right, yeah.
But so you have to like put it in the context of a div kind of thing. Otherwise,
yeah.
Or
I thought about it. That at the end, I realized that like this doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I guess I could practice some of those, like making some nested like maps or whatever, and then make sure those are fine. Yeah.
Well, if you can work with 2D, you can work with 1D easy. But like overall, no.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Really good though. Let's see. No, like you got it working. I mean, how long did we spend? Like an hour 18, I think, or like an hour 10.
Yeah.
There's like.
I could easily get it to under an hour for sure with like all of that. Yeah, absolutely. With improving a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think a normal front end interview is probably, if I had to guess, like 50 minutes, 45, something like that. So I think I could easily get it in like 45 minutes, to be honest, if I like just clean up a bunch of the stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna end the video here. But I think overall, good job. Like you like where I'm testing candidates a lot of the time when I'm running the front interviews. It's like, do they understand how state works? I mean, you clearly talked about, because some candidates would straight just use the variable in there. So I need to make sure they understand how state works, and then like how to set the state. You're like able to set the state. There's also bugs because people don't realize when you set the state, then it re-renders. Sometimes they like set the state and then like try to use it right away, but it kind of like when you set the state, it re-renders.
Oh yeah, that's why I made the new variables. I think because I think I ran into those errors when I first started using React, where I'd set a state and then access it, and I'd be like, well, I just set it. Why can't I? Because it's like async. There's a delay. So
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's like things I'm watching for. Can they manage state? Can they manage use effect? Like, can they manage hooks? I mean, like you added the dependencies correctly. Like if you added less dependencies, it would have re-rendered every time. If you added I mean, I don't know what other ones you could have added here, but it may have not ran enough.
So I think the main things is if you have a state in a use effect, then you need to add it to the dependency array, which might cause too many re-renders. So you need to kind of think of a way to like write it correctly. Like if I was accessing board in here somewhere, then I'd have to add it to the dependency array.
Let's see what else. Set is game over. I think it's fine. Yeah. Overall, I think it's good. Yeah. It's pretty much what we would expect. I mean, you're able to work with the CSS well. Yeah, everything was good. Yeah, I wouldn't expect obviously if you were doing this by yourself, you would have it would have been a lot cleaner, but like during the interview, like you did some stuff that was probably like less clean. But like if you're probably doing this by yourself.
Yeah, you're like less nervous in an editor. Things are I think one of the biggest things is just like getting used to the coder pad. I don't know if like most of these front end things, like there's just this delay of like what's going on. Is there an error? I don't know, and it takes like 30 seconds for it to like catch up or something. Especially these infinite
practice
loops
on here too.
Yeah, for sure.
What people actually use in order to run their interviews.
Yeah,
But
for
Paul,
sure.
yes, we beat it at the end. Look at that, we won. But yeah, all right,
Beat it. Oh
Alpha.
yeah, beat
Let's
it. Yeah.
let's do the other one tomorrow. We're gonna talk. We're gonna do a front end. I'm gonna stop this video here. We're gonna be doing a front end system design. Could you like quickly talk about what that is so I can prepare for tomorrow?
Yeah. So I think for front end system designs, from what I've seen, is so it's kind of like a back end, except you black box the server. So it's like, what's your component hierarchy going to look like? How are you going to manage state? API is kind of the same, right? I mean, you do have front end APIs. And then how would you optimize like performance, accessibility, that kind of stuff? I will
I
say,
see.
yeah, there's no content on front end system design. I think making some videos and like
Yeah,
sharing it will be pretty good. Back end, there's a lot. Front end, there's like literally none.
yeah.
So yeah,
I'm not that good with accessibility. I was like, they're
I'm not
trying to
that good. Yeah, yeah,
they're trying
same
to train
dude.
me on
Same.
that, and I was like, not doing the training sessions.
Hmm. I think for a lot of that, like it depends if you have to write enterprise components, then I think that's where it probably matters a lot. Where for me, I just use like the common enterprise components, like a button or all these things, and I
Hmm.
think they already have that in there.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't really have to do it very often.
cool. All
Plus,
right,
I think
Alpha.
there's like accessibility checkers you can like run your stuff through, and it'll tell you what you're
Yeah, like
missing.
that's GPTable. All right,
Right.
I'll catch you tomorrow. I'll try to set something up for that. I'll message you again. I'll probably stream, and then when you hop on, like I'll message you, like same thing.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds
That was
good.
fun
Cool.
though. Good stuff.
All right. Cool. Catch
All
you
right,
later.
see ya. Bye. All right, chat. I probably might stream later because I didn't actually cover what I initially wanted to, which is the big tech interview. But we had a fun conversation with Alex. We had a fun just front end interview with Alpha. So maybe later we'll do the big interview tech challenge. But literally, thanks everyone for joining the channel. That was fun. Covered a lot of ground. We'll continue do more streams. I might stream later tonight, maybe 9 or 10, for a few hours and do week one. Week one is pretty easy. Um, all right. See y'all in the next stream. Thanks for hopping on. Good luck, everyone, for whatever you're up to today. It's a beautiful day out here in San Francisco. So I'm gonna walk around, get some food. There's a nice view called Twin Peaks. I might hit that. There's a lot of things, but I'll see y'all maybe later. If not, definitely tomorrow. But let's see. All right. Catch y'all in the next vid.